I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the fam, man. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the live, man. It is, what is it, Thursday? Saints introduced Kellen Moore as the new head coach of the team. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Much love to everybody out there, man. And a few moves the Saints are making to attempt to turn or right the ship. And one of the moves that I've known and that I've seen is behind the scenes in terms of what the Saints are. We're facing that now. It is it is definitely a rebuild. An old team like this would definitely need some reality. So with $50-something million in the hole, and of course we'll get more refined with those numbers as the NBA will then try to shift. And when the new league year starts, then we'll see where the salary cap is in terms, and then we'll do our subtraction or addition to see how that will help the Saints. A lot of guesstimations going on right there. But Kellen Moore, man, stepped to the podium. We'll do some of his interview, answer some questions. A very interesting take that I seen from some of the presser was Kellen Moore's it's not his I guess I would say committal approach. That's the term being bantered about in terms of Derek Carr. So this is a part of the problem here with the Saints team is quarterback play, offensive line needs some stuff. And it's very interesting move that Kellen comes in, and he one of his first hires in terms of coaches is an offensive line coach that we are familiar with former Saints ties. So that he right away, that's one of the things that we talk about. We know what time it is with this team, and let's see what Kellen Moore can do. So I mean, that's what it comes all down to. Saints waited for the entire summation of the season to end, with Kellen Moore being the offensive coordinator that dominated the Kansas City Chiefs in that game. That offensive line dominated them, fam. I mean, that defensive line dominated them. They knocked Kansas City out. They were done at halftime. You know, and you could come out and see it was just over with, and Philly just smacked the hell out of them. Man, that's what kind of football I like. If you're going to play football, it's a rough, tough game. Go out there and smack the hell out of them. Knock them down. That's what kind of football we like. All right, so big ups to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Do me a service, man, as y'all come in and hit the like button. Much love. Dudley, shout out to you, fam. Cartel, big ups, Trey. Super Saints fan says, Wazam Q, what's your take on Kellen Moore situation? I think, I mean, it's not a Sean Payton hire, you know, like we had with Dennis Allen. They hiring guys from inside the circle, which it didn't, that, you know, that wasn't a good look. But Kellen Moore is a little different. You know, I agree with the fact that two things I like: that he's not from inside the coaching circle of the Saints circus. He's outside of that. And the second thing is he's an offensive mind that seems to have a good take on that side of it. He's young, which means he'll have an ability to be able to relate to the coaches. He's not an old, retreaded old coach, you know, stuck in his ways. He's a young, innovative, spirited coach, very youngest in franchise history, like that. And that, when we talked about, listen, man, we need innovation. We need a cutting edge approach. We got a young coach with young philosophies, and that seems to be some of the trend in the NFL. So I can applaud them in that respect, that we get a younger coach with an offensive mind coming off a very dominating performance in terms of his coaching in the Super Bowl, which bringing all that in there. So that is also very positive. To bring anything you can kind of bring some Super Bowl success or some of that mentality here is really good, because that's good for his resume coming right into it, into a team with 12 losses, saying, hey, man, listen, I might not have been a head coach before, but I was just in the Super Bowl this, you know, this last year here. Listen, I know what it takes for us to get there. Can you believe in me? Could you rock with me? And that's something that's pretty good, man. You're going to need that, you know, for some of these guys. And they'll go about the business of trying to put the team together in the best way they can deal with, you know. So anyway, shout out to y'all. OG, I see you. Mad Drummer, big ups to you. Say, what's up, Kai? Shout out to Kai the Great. Pete, what's up, Pete? Big ups to you, brother Richardson, this thing as well. Big ups to you. J-Rock, what's up, J-Rock? Shout out to you, brother Slim. V Griffin, brother Gundam, shout out to you, my brother. Good to see y'all out there as well. Much love. But yes, indeed, we're gonna go over some of these things here, because one of the things that I like that they did do was bring in this Kellen Moore. And, you know, like I said, right now the details of his contract have not been. What's up, Greg? Shout out to you, man. All right, B-Rock as well. We got J-Rock and B-Rock in the building. All right, the kinfolk is in the building. The interesting thing about this, of course, you know, I was looking and doing research to see if I can find the numbers of what Kellen Moore's contract is. Of course, that's not released yet. I doubt it will be released at all at any time. It'll just be a guesstimation, similar to what the Dennis Allen contract was. It's not nothing new. The Saints do, they elect not to release the data, but there is guesstimation saying that it's north of $7 million, anywhere between 4 to 5 years. Some stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get some, you know, we'll get some more data on that, but I don't think anything like that. I don't think the particulars are going to be released. I'd be surprised if they are, but anyway, we'll see what he got, man. We'll see what he got. And this is, like I said, even though Loomis can sit up there and says that he's overly patient, the Who Dat Nation's patience is at an end. We'll be patient up to a point because we're fair, and we'll give you an opportunity. But I do like what he's bringing in here, fresh off a Super Bowl. Hope bringing that energy here. We need that energy here and that toughness. It's not like the Philadelphia team were rough and tumble. They smacked the Chiefs down. They smacked them down, and the Chiefs not a chump or a sucker team, man. The Chiefs have been playing good football all year long, and Philly went in there and showed them its different degrees of toughness, and they slapped them down. They punched them down. So we need that kind of toughness, and not only that championship mentality. We need that here because, just to be honest with you, these players and these coaches and this leadership, this ownership, whatever you want to call them, they've completely lost their way. So there's a lot riding on the young shoulders of Kellen Moore to turn a lot of this around. So today is the first day of that transition, man, and I wish the man nothing but the best because it's not exactly going to be easy. But man, listen, if you up for a challenge, man, listen, like I'm a guy that went through a lot of challenges, man. And let me tell you something. I don't see them as obstacles or hurdles, man. I see them as, what's the term that I would use? I would see them as building blocks. That's the term that I would use. Some people say it's obstacles, or it all depends on your mindset, right? Because I'm not a person that believe in loss. I don't believe in loss. Not in personally speaking, I don't believe in loss. I think everything you gain, everything, even in what you would term bad relationships, you still gaining. You're getting crystallized through the experience of that relationship, where it's redefining you and making you a better person. Just look at how gold is made. When they find gold in the earth, they don't just take it and start putting it on your body, man. It's a refining process that you have to go through with that gold, those resources. You see what I'm saying? In nature, is all the same. It's all the same. Even they use these nature terms for money. They call it currency, like current, like an energy current, because a lot of that's tied to it. But anyway, what I'm saying is that's what kind of mindset it's going to take for you to deal with all of the stuff that's going around the New Orleans Saints organization, man, to be honest with you, and to be coaching under those type of circumstances, man. You got to be strong in a lot of ways, man, outside of just being physical. All right, so the big ups to y'all. What's up, Willie? Shout out to you, man. Good to see you, brother. Byron's in this thing. Good to see you. Brute Saint, what's up, fam? He said, I have more patience, Will, more than I had with DA for 2. Yes, indeed. Because you can see, and we're going to play some of the man's interview he talked today. I like how he sounds. I like how he's talking. But like I said, I agree about the offensive mindset. I like the fact that he's the youngest coach the Saints ever did. So they did some stuff differently in this hire process. They went outside the circle. They hired an extremely young coach. Not only just a young coach, but he coming off a Super Bowl win as an offensive coordinator. Had good, some good stuff going on. Very smart, innovative mind right there. Automatically did his research on the Saints, according to some of the reports, to say what he needs to do with the team. Insofar as what did I need to do? Now, he's a former quarterback that understands he's going to need a quarterback. Not saying that Spencer's not the guy, but we've seen a trend over the last, 2 years, that every time the Saints bring somebody new here, offensively speaking, the guy picks up his own quarterback. Is there a guy in the draft that he likes? That'll be stuff that we talk about down the line. But is there a guy he wants to trade for in the NFL? All that'll be bannered about ad nauseum over the next several months leading up to the draft and into training camp. So there's a lot of time and a lot of content to be created in terms of that. So we'll have plenty of time to decide on that. But this definitely going to be that when you get a young coach like this that never been a head coach before, there's going to be a lot of learning pains. I mean, growing pains, learning pains, that sort of thing. But, I'm very enthused by the fact that this is something different that we haven't seen them do. And perhaps this could be the key, to changing things around. I don't know. Time will only tell, man. I wish I had the crystal ball for you on that. But anyway, shout out to you. There's no doubt about it. Saints for Life says it's going to take he says, take time personally. My bar is low, 2 to 3 years. So he said this team is being in so much better spot all around. However, Loomis is getting in his way and keeps saying the roster isn't bad. And that's something that even was it Deanna Rossini or Kay? One of them said, I think it was Deanna Rossini. Y'all correct me in the chat, but it was one of them, one of the female reporters that mentioned the fact that it might be Deanna Rossini, said that inside of them talking, hearing, she heard that Mickey Loomis was telling these interviewers something totally different than what he's telling you. He's telling you that the team is ready to compete, and behind the scenes, according to her, she was saying that he's telling these interviewing potential coaches at the time that the team is that we can rebuild. We'll be patient with you during the rebuild. So how is he has two forked tongues and talking out both sides of his mouth to you, saying one thing and then saying a whole nother thing to the people that he hiring to be the coach? Why is he doing that? Why don't he has one message for everything? Like, we all know that this team is rebuilding. It can't sustain winning, and it's commonsensical. Carolina and all these other clubs are ahead of the Saints, and they're younger than the Saints. It's time for you to move. Now you can hasten the rebuild by making smart and intelligent moves. You can hasten it. You can. You can do your homework and draft the players you're supposed to draft that fit your scheme. Be smart in free agency of guys that you can bring in here. Be incredibly proactive when guys start getting hurt. Start making trades, making moves, bringing guys in. Not just having guys sitting up on the practice squad. Some, bringing in people, if you can use them right away, circulating them, and like actually using the practice squad as an extension of the team. Once people start getting hurt, we got these guys sitting on the practice squad and they're never going to take a rep. Why are they there? Let's move these fools out the way and put some people out there on that practice squad that we can use if something was to start shaking. Just up the IQ and the energy of everything that we've been doing. Because what that was, we've seen over the last 4 years, is something that you don't want to emulate. So whatever you did then, you can't emulate that. You have to then flip it and do the exact opposite, which means proactive behavior, not sitting there reactive. Proactive behavior everywhere. That's what Philly did to build that team. They were very excessively active in free agency, excessively active in the draft, getting the most out of players like Dean and all these other guys that he'd be picking up from Georgia. The pipeline of Georgia players in and out of the building. You have to have that mentality. You cannot live what you were 3 years ago. We can't have that. So, it's just what it is. And you know what? I'm going to give it all to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all for that, because it was y'all that did it. We wouldn't have had Kellen Moore if it wasn't for the Who Dat Nation putting the foot down on this Loomis cat and saying we're not coming to these games, and putting a fire under Gail Benson ass to get up and do something about it. If it wasn't for that and the players complaining, we wouldn't have gotten here. So in the end, I applaud you because you facilitated this change. They won't tell you. They won't give you no crazy. They'll try to steal credit for it because that's what they do. But at the end of the day, we know the truth. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be here. So I hit the clap button for the mighty Who Dat Nation and the diehards that says, man, we ain't repping this. I'm going to do it again. Shout out to you guys. That's for y'all. God damn it. The true people that make it all go. They do it all for you. All right. So anyway, big ups, man. Shout out to all y'all, man. Let's get to going and the rest of this stuff, man, because, and like we said, Kellen Moore was introduced as the coach. We'll play some of that momentarily, but just to cover a few news notes and items that happened, that circulated around the situation. Shout out to our good folks at the Canal Street Chronicles. Big ups to you guys. They covered this as Saints make 2 offensive coaching staff moves. You guys probably heard about it. Shout out to Nick. He says Saints are keeping Keith Williams. That's the fantastic wide receiver coach, and bringing him back. And they announced that they're bringing in Brandon Nugent, who was with the team back in 2015 and 2021. So you have your offensive line coach, your wide receiver coach. You have some stability there. Also, we'll see other coaches. If Clancy Barone is a guy that, because Coach Williams is a guy that I liked a lot. Like, I hope they keep hold to him. Clancy Barone's another dude that I like. Hopefully they keep hold to him. You got Nugent here. Perhaps Jari Evans can come on as the assistant to Nugent. We'll see who they like, because these guys like who they like. They might have somebody different. Of course, he still have some other things that he has to fill out. We do know that Kellen Moore will be calling the plays during game day. So some of the stuff we wanted to know in terms of, because we've been having that for a while, we're very accustomed to seeing a head coach that calls the plays, whether it was offense or defense. That's what we've been seeing since Coach Payton been out here. We don't see the 4-star general coach who just stands up there like a Mike Tomlin. You know, Mike just stands up there and he watches everything and he trusts his guys. I hired you, I pay you to do that, and if I don't like whatever you're saying, I'm gonna speak to you on this mic and tell you why we running that. Let's change this up. Let's do that. You know, that kind of thing. But we don't see that. We don't have that general approach. We have the guy that the head coach takes the reins of the offense, and when Dennis Allen was doing, he was doing it on the defensive side. So, but this is a good move by the Saints. Coach Williams is good, and we'll see exactly what goes on in terms of what Brendan Nugent could bring here as well. So anyway, the move should be well received, as it will keep the same continuity from last season in the coaching staff. Nugent spent last season as an assistant for the Seahawks, and coincidentally will be replacing Saints offensive line coach John Benton, who basically almost like we swapped offensive line coach. John Benton, Clint Kubiak, and Andrew Janoku all went together up to be Seattle's pretty much all of their, you know, the offensive coordinator, the QB coach, and the offensive line coach. They all package. It's a package deal. They went from here up there. So they just traveling the country right now. So anyway, Nugent spent last season up there and will be replaced Saints offensive line coach John Benton. Nugent was the team, which was during the team 4 playoff runs to the Drew Brees era. Y'all remember Brendan Nugent. I remember during that time, the Saints sent 4 different offensive linemen to the Pro Bowl and helped second-round pick Eric McCoy to develop into one of the best centers in the NFL right out the gate. So the move when with Kellen Moore make one of the first moves he did was the Brendan Nugent thing with the offensive line, which is very important because this guy's an offensive coordinator, head coach, offensive coordinator-minded player, person, coach. And he understands to have success, whoever your quarterback is, you have to have a strong offensive line. We talk about how important the trenches war is to winning games. If you look at the Kansas City and the Philadelphia Super Bowl, you can see exactly how important it is to have strong trench play. You see how Philly didn't give Mahomes any rest. He was running around out there like a chicken with his head cut off. He was all over the place, running around trying to do stuff, getting knocked down, sacked 5-6 times. I forgot how many times they roughed him up. But that's what happened when you have inferior offensive line play, when your guys don't come to play and you don't have the correct system. Your quarterback will get no rest, you know, and we need to build that back up again, because we were very strong with our offensive line and under Sean Payton, which is how Drew Brees was ever have that kind of time to stand back there, go over and do what he needed to do. That offensive line was absolutely absurd. It was really good. Not so much now. You know, we've lost a lot of that roughness, that toughness that we had, that blue collar work ethic. Go out there and just you know, wage war on these guys out here, tear them up. We lost a lot of that. These guys that we have, some of these guys we got here, they shouldn't even have fleur de lis on the side of the helmet. Just take it off and give them like a Notre Dame helmet. Can't even say that about Notre Dame. Was actually in a championship this year, so they just give them a white helmet. Just give them a white helmet with nothing on it, you know, and point toward the street. Because at the end of the day, man, offensive line play is very important. So I'm glad he did that, as much as trying to improve that offensive line, man. We definitely need that. So I definitely applaud that. And then, of course, as your offensive line improve, your skill set players will really enjoy this. And I applaud this move right here so greatly, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is an LSU guy. I'm an LSU guy. When they signed him, he was out there running around. It gave me like flashbacks of Darian Sproles and other diminutive backs. But this guy is good. And for him to be a compliment, not so much of a compliment back to what Elvin Kamara, because you still have a Kendre Miller there. I don't know if Jamal Williams is going to make the cut this year. I don't know, but Clyde gives you some versatility there. Like you can kind of have a back. You can have Elvin and Clyde in the game at the same time. Clyde does a good job of blocking. He's just an overall weapon for you. And I applaud the fact that they said, man, we're going to sign it Clyde Edwards-Helaire to a 1-year deal. So, and bring him back to the Big Easy. I think that's terrific, man. MVS should also come back, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, Loomis announced that they're signing Clyde Edwards-Helaire to a 1-year contract. So he's back with the team. He was a former 32nd overall pick back in 2020 out of LSU. He played in 50 regular season games with 32 starts. And of course, just a lot of great statistics with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's still very young, a really good player, man. And I'm really happy that when they signed him, I was like, man, I really love that move. And now they're actually signing him again, bringing him back for a 1-year deal. And Kellen Moore's offense will be very intriguing. So that's pretty cool to see them do that. I applaud that as well. That was good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. Anyway, let's move to this article right here. ESPN Cat Terrell, shout out to her. She said Saints Kellen Moore non-committal on premier player Derek Carr. Now we knew there were reports saying Derek Carr was noticeably absent during the Super Bowl festivities, and sometimes he got his paper. You don't want to hang around with all that pompous circumstance and all that stuff. And really, I'm not, who cares? That's where I'll be at with mine, like, man, who cares, man? Who cares? But anyway, they're saying Kellen Moore didn't make a firm commitment to quarterback Derek Carr. And that was a point of contention during the early discussion when the Saints were having talks with Kellen Moore about the job. When because he did his research on the Saints. He understood when you look at the Saints, and I've been saying the same thing. You look at the tape tell you the Saints need help on that offensive line. Not saying any particular player. I just think that, the left guard needs to be improved because that guy's a backup. If you get a really good offensive lineman that falls to you in the draft, one of the top ones fall to you, you might want to consider that. If you can get that tight end from Penn State, if he falls to you, that can be a safety blanket for your quarterback because you need a quarterback. So it's like you can have a draft the best player approach, which is probably what's going to end up happening. The Saints will build their board according to what Kellen Moore likes and what he is. Hell, he might want to make a move in the draft to get a quarterback. You never know. We'll see as this opens up. But he says Derek's a tremendous quarterback in this league. I have so much respect for him, the journey that he's been on. He's a starter in the league. He's a premier player in the league. Really excited to team up with him and go through this process. And so just like any other player on the roster, I just got here a few days ago, and I'm excited to go through the journey of all of them. But if you're the head coach of the team, very seldom you want to take on, or when you come to a team, you got a guy, what is going to be 12 years coming up in this next cycle. And you're looking at like, man, listen, what do we do here? Well, if I take this job, I want to pick my own quarterback. Mickey Loomis is leverage, like, okay, whatever, you got to do what you got to do. And he'll take his hands off of it. So, and really, if he had him, and Kellen Moore had the leverage, let's be honest with you, because I know Mickey Loomis is big on Derek Carr, but the biggest advocator for Derek Carr is no longer on the team. That was Dennis Allen. That was his guy. We couldn't afford the man when they picked him up, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. So anyway, what's the thought process on this? He's 30. Moore's 36, the youngest head coach in the league. Inherits a team that is expected to be significantly over the 2025 cap, although the number has not been set yet. Saints must get cap compliant by the start of free agency, which is March the 12th. Okay, which includes addressing Carr's $51.4 million salary cap figure. Moore called, quote, tremendous starting quarterback in his league when asked whether he felt the team had a decision to make at the position. We're fortunate to have him, and we're excited to go through this process as we build this team together. This is what Kellen Moore is saying. I'll play that for you in a little bit. Again, I'm meeting these guys for the first time. The last few days, really excited to meet more of them. This will be a lot of fun. Moore said he hasn't met most of the players and staff members After officially accepting the job, Moore's coming off a 1-year stint with Philly's offensive coordinator position and a win with the Super Bowl. He said he plans to call plays in New Orleans. We have to utilize a lot. He says use a lot of tempo every place that I've been. We'll use shifts, motions when we huddle. We want to stress the defense. Now we'll have to throw it. He says, now whether we have to throw it 50 times or run it 50 times, I really don't care. However, we got to win a football game, we'll do that. So that's pretty good. So it's been he says some other stuff, and I won't give too much away because this is also in the presser. We'll play that and go over that. But he'll say, obviously, injuries was a challenge this year, and those things sometimes are challenging and uncontrollable circumstances. We recognize there's so much going on here. We want to embrace the good, don't lose any of the good while building this thing the right way. It's a collaborative effort. We asked whether he'll be involved in the roster building process, but didn't say whether or not he feels the team needs to rebuild this year. I think we're going to compete for this division. We have a great opportunity in NFC South, and we're going to focus on while building this team the right way. So kind of a little politician speak from our newly minted coach. And like I said, man, I think a lot of times we could talk about a lot of people blame injuries. The Pelicans do that. They sit up here blaming injuries too. It's all about coaching too and preparation. You have to prepare your team. And I think a lot of times Saints were in some of these games last year, and it was just bad coaching, non-adjustment, bad roster decision making at times. Like the late in the year when Rizzy put Jake Haener in there. Everybody knew Jake Haener's not better than Spencer Rattler. We all know that. And the guy got in there and literally embarrassed himself for a half of football. And they put Spencer in there, and Spencer almost won the game. So if he just started the game, more than likely the Saints would have won that game. So what I'm saying is, being just smarter football decisions all the way around. And if there's injuries accruing, you have to investigate the injury situation seriously and not just sit and talk about it, because the Saints know exactly what the problem is with the injury situation. It's the health unit, the medical side, the athlete side. The sports medicine side is a major problem. It's not worth the money. They will have to improve. They got a lot of resources in there. They're a monopoly healthcare system. They're like the Walmart of the healthcare system down here. I don't know if you guys in different areas of the country know what an Ochsner is, because you probably got your own behemoths. But down here in this region, Ochsner is like the Walmart of hospitals down here. They're like the Walmart. They're everywhere. They're buying up all these other hospitals. They're like consuming all these hospitals. So, the thing is, and like I said, my mother worked for Ochsner Hospital for years. She worked for years, but the hospital side is, it has a lot of success, but the athlete medical side of it is really somebody really need to look at it. Because anytime we had the Saints complaining about injuries and the Pelicans complaining about injuries and they saying it's worse than last year, that's what they saying. And you turn around and look and Ochsner's on the banner, then that's the people that's handling a lot of it. You might want to look at that, but the money tied to it will I just don't got time for the games. You want to know what the problem is or not? That's what I'm saying. Don't sit up here and pretend like we don't know what the problem is. There's only one place you're getting your health care from. I don't have time for games, man. I don't have time. I'm a straight shooter. You want to know what the problem is with it? You start there. Start there. But they will not do that because they're making a lot of money off that deal. It's a corporate deal. And that's the problem. You have to figure that out. And if you're serious about stopping injuries as opposed to just using them as an excuse every damn year, that gets old fast. Everybody has injuries. You got to do something about that. All right. Anyway, man, it's just out of somebody's hand. No, it's not. They got technology that can figure all this shit out, man. They pay these people literally millions and billions of dollars with all of this stuff. There's an answer to everything, especially when you're talking about medical. When you're talking about different diseases, there are answers for everything. It might be suppressed, but there are answers for everything. If you dig deep, you'll find it. They cannot keep the cures away from you. That's not up to them to do. There are cures for a lot of this out there. Don't y'all sit up here and believe all this stuff these people say. They're making money. So in the end, man, you want to know the truth, just talk to the Most High. He get to you. They can't stop that. But anyway, man, that like I said, man, this the injury situation answers to all of this, man. It's answers to all this stuff. And then, of course, let's do a little breakdown before we hear from Kellen Moore. 2025 NFL offseason preview. New coach Kellen Moore has a lot of work to do in New Orleans. The overview: 2024 season, 5-12, third in the NFC South, missed playoffs. It's largely a lost season for the Saints, which is incredibly disappointing after a very strong start that included a 25-point road rout of the Cowboys, at least in the first several weeks since the regular season, and things haven't gotten better. The first 2 weeks were phenomenal. Then the adjustments came, and that's what I was saying. Once they got enough tape on the Saints and what they were doing, everything looked different. They never looked the same. That is life in the NFL. Especially when you flaming them that hot, they're going to come out and really just put you in the petri dish and literally break you down cell by cell and figure out what you're doing. And that's exactly what they did to the Saints. They had no counterpunch, no adjustment for that. And that's what made Sean Payton exclusively intelligent, because Sean Payton had the ability to adjust offensively speaking. He was innovative in many of his aspects. That's why he was able to have an offense that was either top 5, top 10, and at Lester like 14 or 15. I think he dropped to 1 year with dealing with some stuff, but his offense was always up there. And that's very hard to do because the NFL starts breaking it down and Sean's still having success. And then over time, when they realize how dominant it is, they start emulating it. We can't stop it if we can't. It's a copycat league. We can't beat it, just join it. That's what they do. But the Saints lost quarterback Derek Carr to multiple injuries, dropped 7 games in a row. At one point, fired head coach Dennis Allen. They also waited until the very end of the coaching cycle, landing Kellen Moore, fresh off the coordinating offense for the Super Bowl champion Eagles. That hire comes after former Dallas Cowboy coach Mike McCarthy reportedly pulled himself out of the running. Not upset about that at all. Saints need big changes this offseason. It feels like they're already behind. They also have absolutely no salary cap money to work with, and they're locked into a bad contract with Carr. If the organization doesn't make some quick moves, it could be looking at another rough campaign in 2025. Key free agents: Chase Young, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juwan Johnson, Peyton Turner, Willie Gay Jr., and Tanu Passanio. Who's in? The Saints should do whatever they can to keep Young around, even though their financial situation, he says, he's more than proven himself in the one season. And Chase Young is very interesting. And will the Saints do it? They had a chance to trade him and get picks for him. They decided they elected to keep him past the trade deadline, which was kind of an indication that they were eventually re-up with Chase Young. At some point, bringing him back to pair him with Carl Granderson in year 2, which is very intriguing. I like what Chase Young did this year. I think he can improve upon that. It is very intriguing watching Chase and Carl Granderson, 2 young athletic defensive linemen, really get it. They're two different origin stories, isn't it? It's like opposites right there. You have a celebrated defensive end like Chase Young, who was a top recruit out of high school. He was went to Ohio State, did his thing up there, was drafted 2nd overall in the draft, and all that kind of stuff. And then on the opposite side, you got Carl Granderson from where? Wyoming. So you got Ohio State and Wyoming. And then Carl was doing great things with Wyoming, and then he wasn't even drafted. Carl was undrafted. Saints picked him up. Carl went to jail. Some flip-flop stuff happened in there with that judge. He got released. And then Carl, ever since then, he climbed from the mud of the bottom of the depth chart up to earn him a contract to be the starter. So that's like 2 different paths to the same position. So, I mean, it'll be very, I like Chase Young. And the question I had was, could he stay healthy? And he did that. So I think the Saints are ultimately probably going to find the money to re-up with him. Marquez Valdez-Scantling would be good too. I think Scantling will be cheap. He'll be a cheap re-up too. They're really good. I'm really interested to see what MVS, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed looks like. That would be really good because we've been looking for, when they signed Cedric Wilson Jr., that was really supposed to be MVS. But at the end of the day, they got him later on in the free agency cycle. But having MBS there, I don't think he'll be expensive. Pairing him with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, for Kellen Moore and the right quarterback, that could be something else. Jawan Johnson's also very interesting too. I don't know where he stands. Saints might want to go in a different direction. Peyton Turner, I think he's gone. Willie Gay, I don't exactly know with Willie Gay. And Tanu Passanio, we'll see. We'll see. I don't see what's the problem with Tanu coming back cheaply, but then again, these guys might want to do something else on the defensive side of the ball, depending on who the D coordinator is. A lot of rumors is it might be Staley, it might be somebody else. We'll see who it is because these hires will be coming real soon. He's going to be putting these staffs together. This ain't stuff we're going to have to wait long to find out who his staff is going to be, fam. We ain't going to have to wait. You're going to start hearing this guy got hired, this guy got hired because it's expedited, being that we so close to what we need to do. He needs to get that staff together as fast as he can because we got other stuff that we got to do as we get ready to get to team building. You got to have the staff to team build, right? All right. So anyway, he says Johnson coming off a career year. Daz Scantlin landed through the midseason. He's a good weapon for Carr. Whoever the quarterback is, they can get him on a good deal. It's unclear if you want to stick around. Johnson coming off a career year had some very impressive outings. The Saints end up splitting with Foster Moreau, keeping Johnson around for the right price would be helpful. And some of the free agent needs. Defensive line is at the top of that. Wide receiver, they talking wide receivers there. Wide holes, it's hard to see the Saints can land anybody significant in free agency, consider their financial straits, but they have struggled at the wide receiver position last season after losing multiple players to injury. 2 tight ends and a running back were top 3 receivers in terms of yards last year, so bringing in a wide receiver is a must. If they can't retain Young or Cam on the defensive line, at least one solid replacement will be. Any help they can bring in on the defense will be a positive. So indeed, depending on who's there, right? Because this is one of those drafts where you can land a guy from multiple positions, depending on what you're looking at. The defensive line, you can get a good one at 9. If that's what you're looking at. If you don't think you'll get Chase, if you don't bring Chase back. Wide receiver, if you don't want MBS back on a cheap deal and you want to build toward the future. Yeah, I don't think Tet McMillan is there. I don't think Tet falls to you at 9. I think he'll be gone. You might get the tight end from Penn State. He might be there for you. And if he's there, I'm tempted to take him because that guy will be a phenomenal safety blanket for your quarterback. That guy he can block and catch, and it's a lot of application to him. We broke him down on film. All right, so anyway, let's keep it moving, man. Why the holes? It's hard to see the Saints can land anybody significant there. He says if we can't replace Young, got to draft somebody or Cam or whatever. Do they have the money? Not at all. The Saints entered the season almost $60 million in the hole, so they'll be making some significant cuts. It's a large amount of cap space in the league. Notable potential cuts: Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, Kalen Saunders, Nate Shepard, Foster Monroe. That's a lot of money. Now, later on, we'll probably break down these contracts and put this money together. This app that I'm using to kind of add some numbers behind it so you can see the numbers when you start chopping these players off and some of these guys off. Because me personally, man, I like a lot of these players, but at the end, man, this is business. You guys got paid. You didn't produce in the manner we needed it to happen. So you basically kind of signed your pink slips here. So a lot of these guys got to go. They really do. You got to do everything you got to do to get this down here. You got to start with Carr, number 1. You got to get with Carr. I don't think Kellen, this is just me talking. I don't think Kellen Moore, the options with Carr, this will be interesting to see with the Saints because you commit to Carr, you can't afford him. But then again, if you get rid of him, what are your options? Are you going to go into the year that leaves you making a trade for an existing backup quarterback somewhere? Or you in a draft find somebody you like and you're willing to accrue picks to move up to go get a certain quarterback that you might like in the draft. I don't know. So the quarterback position is a tricky one this year in terms of the draft, because they won't have access to any of these top two first round quarterbacks. I mean, of course, later on, if you're looking at franchise quarterbacks, like you'll see a Shedeur Sanders or a Cam Ward, those guys. Now I hear about people with the Jackson Dart thing and all that kind of stuff, and and I do like Jackson, I like his versatility. But, a lot of people, and even, my dog, shout out to my dog KT, because he was like, man, I don't know about that guy. He kind of reminds me a lot of Matt Corral. And I was like, oh my goodness. And you put the tape on, Matt Corral was doing similar stuff, even though Jackson is more explosive in my humble estimation than what Matt Corral was. But he wasn't no Golden Corral in the league. But once again, it all depends on the vision that you have for these players, because you don't have forever and a day when you take them. So you have to be smart in your selection when you draft these players out of the colleges or whatever system comes from. You have to do your diligence to see, if I draft this player, he has a similar philosophy or a system or a scheme that they played in that can have a shorter learning curve to be able to I can get this guy implemented into the system and have somewhat of some success with this player right away. That's the key to it. And think about this. Trevor Penning is going into, what is Penning going into? His third year? No. It's Penning's fourth year, isn't it? Y'all put it in the chat for me. The first year he played one game. The second year he played and got his ass handed to him. This is his third year. He started more games than he ever did. And yeah, he's coming up on his fourth year. He's a first round draft pick. Some of these guys, these fourth round picks have first round picks have 4 to 5 year contracts. He's coming up on his fourth year. So the Saints basically really wasted away his first year and his second year in his development. He coming up on year 4 and he's behind in his development. So he has to do a lot to catch up just to get to where he needs to be, because a lot of that's on, some of it's on him. A lot of it's on how the Saints did not have a clear vision on how they wanted to use this man. So they basically really kind of messed over him for Ramczyk, because they didn't want to move Ramczyk from that right side. So they put him at the blind side. And I was saying, don't do that the whole damn time. You don't put that guy. That guy ain't the guy you want to put on a blind side tackle. And they telling you it don't matter. The tackles are interchangeable. Remember that? Telling, it don't matter. The tackles are interchangeable. It don't matter, huh? It don't matter. You got a guy that is a right-handed quarterback. His back is going to be facing this way, and you got Penning there, and they running around Penning like he wanted them expensive lobby spinning doors, and then knocking his other dude's ass in the grass. So I mean, in the end, man, the way they handled the Penning situation was awful. So a lot of people bash down on Penning because of how he looked. Well, the Saints were responsible for that. They did not handle his development correctly. So you'll never hear that part of the game. They'll just put it on all the players. No, it's the coaches. More than half of this stuff is on coaches, and the intelligence of when they draft these guys. You have to have a vision for these men. When you bring them in here, you have to have a vision. Well, I'm taking him because I'm going to use him this way because he had experience doing, and break it down. Like we're going to use him here because the system he comes from. I know that coach, and that coach, I talked to the coach told me such and such, you can use him. And most of the coaches who are coaching these guys are going to tell you everything about them. Hell, they got scouts sitting in the stands recording everything that they do. They have a ridiculous amount of information on these draft picks. They have mental evaluations on them. They know about the background of their parents. If they got a criminal history, these people hire, a lot of them, sometimes they hire private investigators to look into some of these players. Did y'all know that? They spend a lot of scouting. They spend millions of dollars, billions of dollars in the scouting field, going behind into the background and talking to people and all this kind of stuff, dealing with these players. So how the Saints failing like this with all that information you can use, how they failing to draft good players to help the team? Why is it so difficult? It's not an exact science, but if you have a vision, because that's what it's all about, you have to have a vision for these players that you pick. And you don't just pick the player because you like his name or you know his daddy. You pick the player because the player can help you. I mean, what more is it? You watch the player play. Can he play? Does he has a history of being injured? Does he, is he has a problem with authority? Does he hang in the strip club? You know all of that. They'll figure all that out. Hell, they know all of that. So how the Saints got all this information and still can't get it right? That has to change, man, because If you low with the money, there's only one other place, maybe two other places that you're going to improve the team if your money low. That's either through the trade market, and that's impacted to a degree too, based on how much money you have in the red. Also, there is the draft situation. You got to hit on these drafted players. They hit on the undrafted players, but they have to hit on the drafted players. They got to start hitting on these drafted players if you want to turn this around quick, because you don't have the money to outcompete a team like an Atlanta or a Carolina Panther or any of these other teams in the NFC who are going to be spending more on your free agents or the guys that you like, because you don't have the money to go after them. They're going to get some of these guys, which would then catapult them ahead of you in terms of that. So you're going to have to resourcefully get it on the back end by utilizing the draft and all this other stuff. You're going to be very cunning and clever on how you got to be about the business of doing that until all of the money fall away. And for people that they're telling you guys that it's just 1 year of bad cap management and we'll be good next year, that's not the truth. You depending on what you do this year impacts what you do in 2026. You don't really see ridiculous and extraordinary amounts of cap until 27. That's a faulty timeline that Mickey Loomis put out there. It's not a 1 year deal, because you got 50, 60 something $1 million in the red. That got to go somewhere. That ain't going to just disappear. So you still making cuts and all this stuff. There are going to be some ramifications for some of these cuts that's going to fall on that number for 26. And that's going to drop that number some. So, like I said, man, let's just be all the way honest with it, right? All right. So anyway, does Cam Jordan get cut? A lot of people are sentimental with Cam Jordan. Can Cam take a pay cut? I got to reach back to you. Can you take a pay cut, brother? You won't stand on the team, you got to take a pay cut. You got to take a pay cut. Hell, even Drew Brees took a pay cut on his last contract. Drew Brees won all of his money. He never took a pay cut, but he gave the Saints one pay cut, and that was the last year that he was there. That last contract, he gave him a pay cut. He gave him a cheap deal to help the team out. Can Cam Jordan take a pay cut? Can he take a pay cut? But guys like Kellen Saunders and Nate Shepard and all them guys, they got to go, man. I like Bink Saunders. I like him a lot. I think Shepard's more of a reserve guy, but that's just, in my estimation, they weren't better than David Onyemata and Shai Tuttle. If that was the case, then they got to go. The defense gave up too much rushing attack. The offensive line didn't run the ball enough. It's very simple. There's no sentiment here. It's all it's business. At the end, there's no sentiment here. There's no sentiment if we put Cam Jordan in the street or release him. He's still a Hall of Fame Saint. Take a pay cut if you won't stay with the team. Hell, all you guys take a pay cut if you won't stay with the team. If you love us that much, take a pay cut, right? If you won't help the team out because they need money, take it. I'm pretty sure that he ain't the only one asking Carr, hey, Carr, you won't take a pay cut? I'm pretty sure they asked, and if they had asked Carr that, I'm pretty sure they asked some more players about taking pay cuts. If they don't want to take a pay cut, put them in the street. Put them in the street. We got to get this money back so we can become relevant again. We can't get all sentimental with some of these players, All right, why they might be going. This is a big list, but it would cut, he said, but it would cut the Saints deficit by more than half if they cut all 5 of these players. Now, the Taysom Hill thing, that's very interesting. Sean Payton said, hold on, wait. Sean Payton would love to take him up there to Denver. The most notable is Hill. He's become a staple in the Saints offense and a folk hero in New Orleans in recent years. He's played just about everywhere on offense, but he went down with a torn ACL in week 13. He also will be 35 when the season starts, and cutting him will free up $10 million. While it won't be a positive move, it's one the Saints need to make. Cutting Jordan wouldn't be pleasant either. The Saints selected him in the first round back in 2011, and he spent his entire career there. The team captain role improved after the Saints split with Allen, and he said he wants to play at least another season in the league. The issue is he brings a $12.5 million cap hit. If the Saints want to keep him around, a pay cut or a restructure is something that they could, instead of no restructuring. You have no restructure on older players, only pay cuts. Give some money back. And I think Cam cool with that. I think Cam will give some money back. And if they don't, then hasta la vista. Appreciate you, brother. We put you in the Saints Hall of Fame. Hell, you might even get a statue. Hell, he might even get a street named after him. We love our athletes down here, don't we? All right, and then we look at the draft picks. First round picks number 9. Second round is number 40. Third round is number 71. Second, third round from the Commanders is 93. 2 fourth-round picks there. One from the Commanders, a 6th round, 7th round. So we're gonna have the 5th rounder this year. So we got 1 2, 2 3s, 2 4s, 1 6, and a 7. And of course, he kind of looks at here and says Malachi Starks from University of Georgia is a guy that you can look at. Now, this is a player that's very impactful on the secondary side of the ball. And if you look at the Saints defense as an old team, or just Saints overall offensively, defensive, you can pick out areas where we can use young talent at. You can say about the wide receiver position. You can say about the tight end position. We can use an outstanding player there. The offensive line, we need some help there. The defensive line, interiorly speaking, somebody to go along with Brian Bresee, may be a big nose tackle to go there. Do we need some help? Backup linebacker, safety, definitely. Jordan Howden, how you feel about him? He took a little step back in the sophomore year. Is he really ready to be a starting safety in this league? Stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So at some point, we'll start looking at a lot of this, man. Saints got a lot of draft picks here and a lot of opportunity to fill a lot of holes here, depending on how we get out of this hole, monetarily speaking, right? So there it is. All right. So anyway, let's move on to Mr. Kellen Moore. At the press conference today, he kind of broke down some game, talked about some stuff right here. Before I do that, shout out to the fam, y'all. Do me a service and hit the like button. If you please, big ups to everybody in here. I appreciate you guys, man. I know I've been away. Shout out to, oh man, I forgot her name. Online reached out to me because you guys ain't heard from me in a while. And people like, well, where the Q at? Where he at? Oh man. When it's a long season, fam. I don't think people realize, we put in, I put in a lot of work. I got my chief editor on the whodatdaily.com. We got 7 contributors, several contributors that contributed boxing, football, basketball, all that kind of stuff. Got an entertainment person coming aboard. So we got a lot of stuff going on. I got other projects behind the scenes that I do, but I always try to keep it close to the mighty Who Dat Nation. These are the people that, that put me on their shoulders, and I always represent to the best of my ability and keep it 100% real, and never about that sellout crap. Always tell the truth and shame the devil. That's what I do. All right. So I appreciate you guys checking for your boy. All right. KT says, how do you feel of possibly switching to a 3-4 under Brandon Staley? Yeah, the defensive coach, defensive coordinator, assistant for the 49ers, used to be the head coach of the Chargers. I'm not mad about that at all, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. The best defense we ever had, in my opinion, the best defense in the history of the NFL world was the Dome Patrol, operated out of 3-4. But they had 4 phenomenal linebackers that were just out-of-worldly. They were good people. They were just awesome. And the thing is, too, that 3-4, and people really don't give credit enough to those guys that were up front, like Frank Warren and Frank Warren, Jumpy Gathers, Wayne Martin, and others, man, at times when they ran that 3-4 defense. Let me tell you something. That 3-4 is not going to work unless you have 3 dogs up front. You have to have 3 dogs up front, because it's 3 of them guys against 5 of them offensive linemen. They got to keep them guys busy for them linebackers to roam around and do that, because a 3-4 is not going to work unless whoever you got up front, them 3 dudes up front, got to be dogs. They have to be dogs. And that's one thing about the Dome Patrol. People look at the linebackers and they talk about the greatness of what Sam Mills, Pat Swilling, Ricky Jackson, the great Ricky Jackson, and Vaughn Johnson. Those guys were stellar, the field mouse Sam Mills. But them guys will tell you, if you go back and watch the old interviews, they'll give a lot of credit to them guys that was up front, those 3 defensive linemen. They were dogs up front. Them linebackers couldn't roam that free if them guys wasn't up there causing hell. And causing hell for Ricky to do what he do, Pat to do what he do, Vaughn and the field mouse roaming around, dropping back into coverage, playing run, whatever they had to do. The 3-4 is not going to work unless them 3 guys up front are dogs. They keep them 5 guys busy. If they don't do that, them linemen going to get up there, put hands on your linebacker, and here come the running back. The running back following them. So yeah, that's something big. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Shout out to you, KT. Appreciate you on that, man, for that super chat right there, my brother. All right, and yeah, we're gonna be talking. Yeah, KT, your time coming, bro. We're gonna be talking that draft stuff, man, coming up soon here. So big ups to y'all. All right, y'all, just give me a second, man. I'm gonna come to a couple of y'all comments right now, and before we jump into it, but shout out to KT. J Rock says the tight end from Penn State is a beast. He is, bro. I think he's going to be gone by the time we pick, or we may address another need tight end. There is also we did a tight end breakdown on Patreon. By the way, there's another phenomenal tight end out of. I'm gonna save that game right there. Y'all just check out the Patreon, man. He led the college in receptions from the tight end level. The dude is good. It's just the Penn State dude is because he does a lot of different. He's not just a regular tight end. The dude can be moved around in different ways, but he's very good. So if you get a guy like that and you make him and put him in your system as a tight end, man, the last really great tight end, man, that we've seen, put him in the chat. That's a quiz question for the fam. What's the last greatest tight end that the Saints ever had? Y'all put it in the chat. What's the last greatest tight end that we had? Jimmy Graham? Was it Jimmy Graham? Was it Jimmy Graham? Because Jimmy was a beast. Jimmy was a beast, man. I gotta give it to who was the last. What we call Jimmy Great? He was phenomenal. He was so good. He was petitioning to be paid as a wide receiver, and he was a tight end. That's how good he was. That's how good Jimmy Graham's like, hold on, man. Y'all gonna pay me like a receiver, man. Sean Payton played me over here. Man, and Sean paid him and traded him. But yes, indeed, man. Was Jimmy Graham? That's the last greatest guy we had. So you when you have an opportunity to get a phenomenal tight end like that, and the guy falls to you, might be very well right. The guy probably might be gone, J-Rock. No, because the dude is good, but they got other really good tight ends as well, man. That's out there. But yeah, Rose says Jared Cook. Don't say Jared Cook, brother. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, KT says, look into Jaden Higgins, wide receiver from Iowa State. 6'4", 210. Higgins, yeah. For me, I heard the name. KT, we're going to chop it up on that, bro. For real, man. Next week, KT, I'm going to reach out to you for next week. That's right, Cartel, the Bowling Green tight end. Y'all look him up, the Bowling Green. His name escapes me right now. KT, put the Bowling Green tight end name in the chat. That's the dude that had all those receptions from a tight end. His feet look a little funny at first, but the dude is a beast. You know, he very productive player, very productive player. That Bowling Green tight end, he's a guy they're looking at to be in the second round of the draft, somewhere up in there. But we'll see. It depends. But yeah, it's one of them situations where Shockey, okay, Paper Chaser said Jeremy Shockey or Shockey. Yeah, we don't see him too often, man. We don't get them great ones like that. Now, we had a guy like Jawan Johnson who had his best year as a Saint, but, you know, Jawan was a converted wide receiver. You know, he was at the bait. When he first came on here, he was playing wide receiver. He was buried in the wide receiver depth chart, and they converted him into a tight end. He worked his way up from the depths of the tight end position to be the starter. So, you know, this could be a situation with Kellen Moore coming in. He understands I'm going to need a quarterback and I'm going to need a good tight end. I'm also need a strong offensive lineman. But yeah, good tight end's a safety blanket. Look how that kid from the tight end from the Raiders, how he killed the Saints. That guy killed the Saints. That guy, the Detroit Lions tight end kills the Saints every time they play. Some guys just mortalize the Saints every time they play. About time we get us a tight end that can do some stuff like that, man. You know, you get me? All right, what's up, Backwood? Shout out to you. Ocharimo, I see you, fam. Quavadius, shout out to you, man. How do you feel about us getting Ashton Genty in the draft, I don't think we're going to get him, bro. I mean, we still got AK-41. They just read up with, even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a one-year deal, Kendre Miller's still there. I think our resources to be betterly utilized somewhere else. I mean, he's a phenomenal talent, don't get me wrong, but I think with AK-41 right here in the Saints understanding, hey, man, we need to do something with this line. We could use some youth here. We can use some youth there. So it depends on how the Saints approach it. Like, it really depends on some of these older players, how aggressive the Saints will be in free agency depends on how aggressive they would be prior to that March 12th deadline when they have to be cap compliant. That means they're gonna have to start chopping these people down, some of these veterans, asking them to take pay cuts, and they don't take pay cuts, put them in the street. We have to get this $50 million down. We have to get that down. We have to balance the books. You know, we got to balance the books, and the books are out of whack because of Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis don't get any blame for none of this stuff. He's sitting up there smiling like he didn't do nothing. This dude done tore up the money and everything. Now we got to get rid of these players to fix it. If we trying to win, we need money. You can't build nothing if you don't have the resources. The money is the key resources you need to gather other resources to get things going. And the Saints are in a precarious situation, and we have to get aggressive in getting rid of some of these people who don't want to take pay cuts. If you don't want to take a pay cut, we got to put you in the street. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's nothing personal. This is business. We have to get back into the black. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real, man. I'm sorry. And it'll make me doubly think, or be like, oh man, I don't want to really do this because we won 12 games last year. But the truth is we didn't win 12 games. We won 5 games and lost 12. So that's an easy decision for me. Oh, you got to go. You got to go. You got to go. Oh, you don't take a pay cut? You going too. I'm sorry, you got to go. We have to we can't let 1 or 2 or 3, even 4 players gum up the works. We have to get this money down so we can get back to being competitive again. We need money to do that. All right. So yeah, the Texas tight end, yeah, he needs a little bit more development. Yeah. No, I know people like Elijah Arroyo, but he has some injuries. You know, he got talent, but his injuries really stalled him out. So he looked at more of a developmental style tight end, but he has a lot of good attributes, size and things like that. But you know, the injury stuff kind of scare you away. Cartel says, Q, why didn't we put Shaq at the tight end position? I don't think he was about it. Brock Bowers, there you go. Brock Bowers killed the Saints last year. He killed a lot of people. In terms of production, you know, and his production, what he did, the guy had like 100-something catches, 10 plus catches last year, something ridiculous like that. The guy was phenomenal, man. He was phenomenal. What's up, Doc Savage? How you doing, sir? Big ups to you. KT says, Q, Luke Lachey from Iowa, 6'5", 250, had a NFL pedigree and was a member of the legendary Hogs. I've heard that name, KT. KT got all the names, man. What's up, Larry? How you doing, sir? Shout out to you, man. All right. Let's get into some of this, man, from Mr. Kellen Moore. We're not going to play the whole thing, just a few of them.
Who wants to lead off?
Kellen, just what are your first, 72 hours here? Like, kind of what's on the agenda? How do you get started? What's that process? What's that transition coming into?
Yeah, obviously it's been a phenomenal opportunity to get back into New Orleans, really to get to know the building. You know, first and foremost, there's phenomenal people throughout this building, and I think that's the great joy that the first few days provide. Really connecting with the building, throughout all the support staff, the players, the coaches. That'll be a process as we go through this, building this, but it's been a really fun opportunity.
Kellen, this team is obviously at a state with a little bit of an older roster where a choice could be made to continue trying to win, consider rebuilding. During the process, did they make it clear that you would get to have a lot of input in deciding that, or did they kind of let you know this is the direction we're going?
I think certainly the great joy that as you went through this process, it became very evident was this is a collaborative effort here. This is a team. This is a group that works really well together. We're excited to go through this journey. Obviously, we'll begin the process of evaluating the player side of this and building a coaching staff and doing it the right way moving forward. It's going to be a really fun process.
Do you have? I mean,
Collaborative
effort. I mean, do you have like a
collaborative effort means that'll be Kellen Moore, man. You know, whatever you want to do, let's go ahead on and do it. Let's go ahead and do it. You want to chop this guy down? Let's go ahead and get him on up out of here, man. We got to build fast. That's the bottom line. And listen, let me say this too, fam, before I put Mr. Moore back up here. Listen, the whole thing is the Saints are not scorched earth. You know, they're not a scorched earth team right here. The Saints have a lot of talented players on this team. If they make a series of moves, like if they're serious about winning, and they just bring some accountability, because one of the main things the Saints lacked last year was accountability. That's something that the guy started talking about in his third and final year, but it was only putting lipstick on a pig, you know, and putting a prom dress on and this type of thing. Because at the end of the day, he was just lip service. It was nothing that was coming from the heart. You know, that's the number one thing. People talk about players, and that's cool, but we talking here to win, to take a team that was an old team who had 12 losses on a year and suffered under just a piddling, ridiculous, crazy possum, and go from that ridiculousness to a 36-year-old, never been a head coach, fresh-eyed, you know, guy, and it works for him. He's like I say, coming fresh off that Philadelphia Super Bowl. That really helps him. That'll definitely gain some people attention, having that happen, as opposed to that happening 5 years prior to him getting here. You get what I'm saying? That it's fresh in their minds, so that will help captivate a lot of the players that's on the Saints, a roster that's about the business of winning, who want to get caught up in that Super Bowl winning feeling, that energy. That's the issue that I'm coming with. Like, we have to establish that accountability and discipline to be able to make it at the highest levels in the football world. That's what we need right here. And some of these guys, they're not a part of that. They're not going to be on that same time. A lot of these guys still stuck on that Dennis Allen energy. And some of them guys, we got to get them out of here, man, because ain't no excuses in this. We got to win, fam. No
preference for the concept of rebuilding, getting younger, or like trying not to overhaul too much?
I think certainly we're going to compete for this division. We have a great opportunity in the NFC South, and we're going to focus on that while building this team the right way.
Kellen, are you starting like today or tonight, tomorrow, or are you going back and participating in the parade? What's your schedule?
There's been a little bit of travel this week, which is all good. So obviously had an opportunity to be here. We'll go back for the parade tomorrow in Philadelphia, and then quickly get back here and get going.
If I can follow up, we've heard about you for a long time. People have seen pictures and video, but this is kind of the first time the passionate fan base gets to hear from you without maybe getting too deep into football. Who are you? Like, what's your favorite? People are going to want to know everything about your family. So is there any more insight besides wanting to be a coach like your father that you can kind of tell the people watching right now about yourself?
Yeah. Faith, family, and football is what this thing is all about. And those priorities will never change. I think when you get to team up with special people, you get to do special things. And I'm really, really excited about that opportunity. I want to lead this team the right way. Or surround myself with tremendous leaders on the player side, on the coaching side. Again, this is a great opportunity.
How do you view, a lot was made in the
faith, family, and football, man. I can respect that. You know, we definitely gonna need some of that around what's been happening with the Saints the last several years, huh? You definitely gonna need that. But yeah, this is very good, man. Very good.
Process about the Saints salary cap situation and where it stands now. Did that give you any concern in the process? And how would you say you view where the salary cap situation stands right now?
Yes, certainly the opportunity to go through the interview process allows us to have those conversations. And quickly, again, it's evident the leadership here is tremendous. They're best in the business from a business side of this operation, and we feel very comfortable with where we're going.
Kellen, how has that helped you out as far as playing the game at the highest level, playing in the NFL for 6 years as a coach? How has that helped you?
Yeah, certainly anytime you can lean on experiences as a player or a coach, tremendous opportunity. And certainly the coaches and the players that I was around, I learned a lot from those guys. And certainly as we go through this process, anytime you can lean on those experiences, you've been in those players' shoes, you've dealt with the challenges that they deal with, you can lean into those experiences.
You mentioned talking about the cap situation. one of those cap hits and guys that are prevalent with that is obviously quarterback Derek Carr. What do you think about him when looking at his tape, and do you view him as being the week one starter for this team with you as head coach?
Yeah, Derek's a tremendous quarterback in this league. I've had so much respect for him, the journey that he's been on. He's a starter in this league. He's a premier player in this league. He's had a great journey, obviously going from Fresno State to the Raiders and now here. Really excited to team up with him and go through this process. And so just like any player on this roster, I just got here a few days ago, and I'm excited to go through this journey with all of them.
You got a chance to spend all of last week in New Orleans and went to the Pelicans game last night. Did you get a sense of how much this team means to the city?
It's very quickly evident. This is a tremendous city. The hospitality and the environment that they provided for the Super Bowl was really special. You quickly saw what makes this place an amazing city.
That's what we do.
And as we've gone through this process, it just becomes more and more evident. We truly can't wait for this to become home.
I know you told us when we interviewed you that you went to the Manning Passing Academy. His Archie, his Drew, have people reached out to you, congratulating you, giving you tips on how it's going to be here?
It's what makes this place really special. Is you can just tell everyone who's touched this place is still invested. From the Manning family to Drew, so many people that have been a part of this place. That's what makes this place special.
Last week you said you don't like you like the defense that you don't like going against, but you didn't want to answer because you're going against Spags and didn't want to give them any tips. What is the type of defense that you hate going against, and what would you like? Like, what are the characteristics you'd like in the defense?
Yeah, that identity is still the same. We want to be a smart team. We got to play really smart situational football. We want to be able to play fast. Guys, when they're fast and free and confident, they play at a really high level. And then obviously we want to be a really physical football team. We recognize I'm a quarterback guy, and I love the quarterback position, but this game has so much impact on the offense and defensive lines, and that's really, truly how you control games and build this thing the right way.
What's your plan for that defensive coordinator search? Several interviews? You have several candidates?
Yes, we'll go through a true process for the defense coordinator spot. We're really excited to go through that over the course of the next few days, and we'll find an excellent candidate.
Will that include? I know you've been around a couple guys who've run 3-4s in the last couple. Will you interview people who might run a 3-4 and people who might run a 4-6?
Yeah, we'll certainly explore both sides of that. I think at the end of the day, we'll find the perfect candidate for this opportunity, and we'll be really excited about it.
How far are you together the staff? Do you have a timeline in place? Like, would you like to see the whole staff together before the combine? Is that important?
Certainly, we just want to do it the right way, and we want to go through a process, and we understand that when the opportunity presents itself, it'll be right, and we're very excited about that. Obviously, we know we're into the middle of February, but there's plenty of excellent candidates out there. We're really excited, the ones that we've talked to already and the ones we'll talk to in the future. It'll be a great opportunity.
Players journeyman the last 3 years, Dallas, Los Angeles, and then Philly. How those last 3 years really prepared you to take on this opportunity?
I was fortunate to be in Dallas for 8 years. Tremendous place, tremendous opportunity. I went there from a player to a coach. Going to Los Angeles and Philadelphia allowed me to get out of my comfort zone. I think that's really, really important as you grow as a coach or a player, that you got to get out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself, put yourself in different situations. And both those opportunities allowed me to grow. Tremendous people at both spots, and I'm forever thankful for that.
After the game, Kellen, let's run this back.
Is there space in there?
Did you just take that as kind of like a lighthearted compliment for the good work you did, or were they really trying to talk you out of something? And what goes into deciding to leave a situation like that where you're coming off a championship?
First and foremost, I love Nick. Forever thankful for the opportunity to team up with him through this past year. Tremendous leader, tremendous head football coach in the National Football League. He won a world championship for a reason. And I feel so thankful for that. As obviously we went through this process, an opportunity to be a head coach is really special in this league. And the more we went through the process, it became very clear that this one was going to be a really special one if it presented itself. And so obviously Nick and I had plenty of conversations as we went through this journey. He was very supportive of it. Certainly he would love for us to team up again, but he understood that, this was going to be a special place for us.
Your background said that how much has that helped you really become a head coach at the age that you currently are?
Certainly viewing it from the quarterback lens is a very valuable piece. It's the hardest position in sports for a reason. There's a tremendous amount of responsibility associated with that player. They're tied into every single player on the football team. I was fortunate to be able to transition quickly from playing right into coaching in Dallas, allowed me to, kind of go through that process rather quickly. But again, great people, great support as I've gone through that. And, again, I think a lot of guys in this league, if they've gone through this journey, a lot of quarterbacks have become coaches, and there's probably a reason for it.
How close do you feel like this team is to becoming contender?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that was one of the attractive pieces of this is, I think this is a talented roster. We played here week 3. We took it down to a minute left to finally score a touchdown when I was in Philadelphia. It was a really challenging game. And so throughout the season, you've seen it. Obviously, injuries were a challenge this year, and those things sometimes are challenging, uncontrollable circumstances. And so we recognize there's so much good going on here. We want to embrace the good, don't lose any of the good while building this thing the right way.
There's the old saying about X's and O's or Jimmys and Joes, but what is it about this Saints offensive roster that gives you confidence you can replicate what you did in Philly?
Tremendous investment on the front line. Again, as we talked about offensive and defensive lines, they're going to have such an impact on games. They're the pulse of your football team. We got playmakers in multiple skill positions. Very, very excited about that. On the back end on defense as well, invested in those guys to have those pieces as well. And so I think we're in an excellent place to build moving forward.
What do you think needs to be different to kind of build that consistent winner here?
Yeah, I think that's the excellent process that we're going to go through. I think it's going, again, teaming up with the right people, teaming up with people who know this is going to take a lot of work. It's going to be a really hard challenge, starting with the offseason program. We're going to build it the right way. We're going to go through that process, and we'll build it once we get together.
Kellen, as far as strategy, what comes into play? Explain to the fans maybe how you utilize motion as far as from your perspective as a play caller, and then also from the quarterback position, and obviously different scenarios to run pass option. You might run a little more, might pass a little more. Just talk a little bit about that.
I think the biggest thing from an offensive perspective is you got to stress the defense, whether it be tempo, which we'll use a lot of. We like to use a lot of tempo every place that I've been. We'll use shifts and motions when we huddle, but we want to stress the defense. Now, whether we have to throw it 50 times or run it 15 times, I really don't care. However, we got to win a football game. We'll do that based off who we have available to us and who's on our roster. But we want to be a team that stresses the defense, challenges them, utilizes our entire roster, the depth that we have, and take advantage of all these different players' superpowers.
Ellen, why do you think you're ready for this opportunity? Your first head coaching job. What are you going to bring to this position, and why do you think you're ready for this?
Great question.
Certainly. I've gone through this process for a long time. As a player, I always anticipated wanting to be a coach, and so those notes that I took each and every day was, would I do this the same way? Would I do this different? And again, each and every one of those notes built me up to who I am today. Tremendous support, tremendous mentors that have gone through this process. Again, when you go to different places, you get to strengthen yourself. You get to challenge yourself, get yourself out of your comfort zone, play different styles of football. And ultimately, I'm really, really excited to have an opportunity to lead this team, be in front of this entire group, and support these players as they go through these challenges they inevitably will.
At 36, I have 2 questions. I apologize. At 36, you're now the youngest head coach in the NFL. Do you lean into that maybe there isn't like a generational divide like there may be with other hires that you've experienced? And I do have a follow-up.
Yeah. Start with that one. Tremendous value, obviously. There'll be certain players that are more closely associated with my age, and I think that's tremendous value. I've been in those shoes for a number of years now. Being a 31-year-old offensive coordinator, that first time, half the room was the guys that I was teammates with 2 years prior to, and so I think there's tremendous value in being able to lean into those experiences, having been in their shoes in a relatively recent time. Again, I think it's a great opportunity.
My follow-up was more lighthearted here. We have kind of a unique culture here. Have you and your family experienced, have you had king cake yet? Have y'all had a meal? Please don't say your first meal is Chipotle.
We are so excited to embrace the food side of this wonderful community. Certainly, we've had a couple king cakes already. Yeah, so we're ready.
You mentioned your father, Tom, right?
Yep.
How is he doing, and what does he think about all this?
He's excited. I mean, my dad was a high school football coach, and that for our family, for my brother to choose coaching, for myself to choose coaching, shows how much he meant to us. My brother's the offense coordinator at Missouri. He's had a tremendous career in this profession, and he's been along it the entire way. He's there at every single game that he can be at, whether it be my brother's game or my game. Football's meant a lot to our family.
Can you speak to how you managed to adapt your play calling philosophy to the roster you've had? We've seen you have pass heavy. We've seen you really run heavy like last year.
Yep.
Why is that something that you kind of aim to do?
I think it's just important. Every roster is different. Every challenge is going to be different. Throughout a season, we're going to have obstacles. We may lose a player. We may have to adjust. And I think that's really, really important. Ultimately, we got to find out what our players do best and put them in those positions to be successful. And, I think we got tremendous talent on this team. I'm excited to team up with these guys, to get to know them as people, get to know them as players, and then again, provide that opportunity for them.
Are there any inherent challenges to that, or is that actually like the easiest route to it? Is just taking what you guys do best and roll with that?
I think that's the fun challenge. That's the fun challenge that you get to team up with. Certainly there's going to be certain philosophies, identities that I believe in very, very strongly. But again, I think it's really, really important that as we build this, there's going to be a process. You're going to go through OTAs, you're going to go through training camp, and we're going to, figure each other out more and more each and every day that we spend. And, those clear identities will present themselves as the season goes.
Along those lines, I know you said you've been bilingual, multilingual in so many different systems. How many times have you used something that was predominantly the wide zone, Shanahan blocking? And obviously they implemented that here, and they have a lot of personnel that fit that. Is that something you've done much in the past?
We've done that at various spots. Certainly in Dallas, there was a lot more of an outside zone emphasis there. But obviously, flexibility, I think, is really important. I think as we've gone through this journey in the NFL, you got to have a diverse run game. You got to be able to do a lot of different things. You got to be able to challenge the defense in multiple looks. Again, we've been more of a downhill gap run team in Philadelphia. There's tremendous advantages to that. And I think we'll have an opportunity to blend those two worlds together.
And following up on Derek, do you view that as you guys have a decision to make at quarterback, or do you view it as Derek Carr as a quarterback?
I view it as Derek Carr is a tremendous starting quarterback in this league. We're fortunate to have him, and we're excited to go through this process, as we build this roster together. Again, I'm meeting these guys for the first time the last few days. Really excited to meet more of them, and this will be a lot of fun.
Is there any position that you would look at and say, this is a foundation pillar and that guy is just absolutely locked in? I know it's all about competition, or is it a new coach and everything's open for competition?
Yeah, we'll let that play itself out. Obviously, we know the tremendous leadership that this team has, the experience, the veteran players. That's a great advantage to us. That's a tremendous advantage to us. Again, we've invested in the offensive line, which is a huge, important piece for us. To me, that's the energy of your entire football team, and so I'm excited to team up with those guys.
Expand on what you look. Sorry. Can you just kind of expand on what you mean by like smart football players? Like when a player is smart, what kind of attributes do they have? What do you look for?
The Derek Carr situation is very interesting because most guys, when they take over the team, they don't want that, the last guy's quarterback, and there's issues twofold here. Like Derek Carr is going to be in his 12th year this upcoming season. He's already told you he's not going to take a pay cut. He wants a restructure. I'm not mad at Derek Carr for wanting his money. The Saints did not put a weapon to his head and say, man, he didn't do it to them, rather. Give me this money. Now, the Saints gave him a blank check. He took it, and he's not giving any money back. He felt like he earned his money. He's not about giving any money back to the Saints, and I'm not mad at him for that. But now that you understand we got a new coach here, the team is $50-something million in the hole. That's up to the Saints. They have to make these cuts, and Mickey Loomis has to fix this stuff. And I think he'll, depending on like the leverage, like we talked about this before when he was having these meetings, and stuff leaked out about it, about his point of contention was the money and, dealing with the Carr situation. We cannot afford Derek Carr. Derek Carr's contract is very expensive. He already told you he's not taking a pay cut. Well, that's a quick decision for me. That's a what? How would y'all designate it? A post June 1st cut? I think, what is it? 30 million? What is it? I forget, man. I got all these numbers in my head, but yeah, that's yeah. He's not the future of the team. You got a 36-year-old coach, the youngest coach. This is a very interesting dynamic, a very interesting phenomenon. We have the youngest coach in franchise history, the youngest coach in NFL, one of the oldest teams in the NFL. That's going to quickly change. We got the oldest team in the NFL and the youngest coach in the NFL. That is definitely going to change. So, yeah, Derek Carr is he's already told you that much. And there's a few Saints players on here that's probably not going to take pay cuts. And I'm not mad at them. But in the end, it's business. We got to put you in the street. I mean, it is. We have to be able to get this money somewhere. It's not about this, $50 million and $50 million or 60, whatever it is in the hole. Once you get to zero, you still have to get more money. Just because you went from 60 minus 60 to 0, you still have to climb up into 10, 15, well, odd million estimated Saints, depending on what they do. They can free up north of 10, 15, north of $15 million, which is not a ridiculous amount of money to do what you need to do, because once you start getting rid of these players, you have to then fill the players from somewhere. And once you get some of the money, you can't just then begin the process of kicking the can again. See, that's a whole nother thing we got to check right away, because I have concerns like once you finally get solvent again, that you got a guy that's going to start kicking the can again. We don't need that kind of foolish, stupid back ass book management by Mickey Loomis. So in the end, the Derek Carr situation, to me, he's playing it real political. Like, matter of fact, he looked like he's standing up. He do remind me of like he could be related to the Kennedys or something. Ask not what you could be about to bust that speech on their ass. But nah, man, a very political spin on some of these commentaries, man, especially dealing with some of these players. He's doing a really good job of keeping it very professional and close to the vest, especially with the quarterback situation and the questions and the comments from our fantastic reporters asking about the money situation that the Saints currently are under and the quarterback situation, because that's where, a lot of the contention is going to be. Is Derek Carr the future of the team? If he's not, then you need to find an answer that is a lot more economically feasible than what Mr. Carr is. And like I said, I think Derek Carr ultimately, with Kellen Moore here, I think ultimately Derek Carr is probably not going to make it. He's probably going to end up either getting traded or end up getting released. It's just what it is, man. It's economics. Let's finish up with this.
Yeah, I think smart football players, understand the situation first and foremost. They understand situational football. They understand how to play the position. They can apply the lessons that you teach them. We don't have to have a bunch of guys go to Ivy Leagues. That's not what the NFL is. But, I think it's tremendous opportunity to find how these guys learn, how these guys grow, to lean into that. Again, when you surround yourself with a bunch of smart football players, it's going to allow your team to really flourish.
You said that you're excited to go through the process with Derek Carr and the roster. Can you tell us a little bit can you describe what the process is?
I think first and foremost is just to get to meet these guys, get to know them as people. And as we build this thing, as we go through the offseason program, obviously we'll go through that process as far as football players, and we'll build it the right way. But again, I'm just excited to meet these guys first and foremost.
You talked about that matchup against the Saints when you were the Eagles. How much did that factor into your decision to want to become the head coach? And also, nobody asked you yet, but have you been to Derek Carr about beating him back in college yet?
The week 3 game, very evident. I mean, I've been here a few times as the road team. It's a really hard place to play. And you felt it each and every day. We felt fortunate on week 3 to come out with a win in a 2-minute drive. As far as Derek and Fresno State, obviously we had a fun game one year. Played Fresno State over the years as a Boise State Bronco, and so we'll certainly share a few laughs about that.
When you talk about the offseason,
the breaks off car in college.
Where you have training camp, do you like to stay home or like to get the players away? As far as maybe involved with that.
Yeah, we'll go through those conversations when we need to. Obviously, right now the priority is the people, and then we'll figure out the process as we go.
During the search, did you feel good that you were maybe the front runner for the job, say, or how did that process go?
Yeah, again, just 2 opportunities. You have a Zoom interview and then you have a formal interview. Both excellent opportunities, I think, for the Saints and for myself, just to go through that process. And so, the rules are structured in a way that allows you to focus on the task at hand, focus on the Super Bowl, not worry about a thing. And once the Super Bowl, got done, then we're able to kind of talk and have those conversations.
What stood out to you about that, the in-person meeting when you got to meet the team?
Yeah, you can tell it's a group that's really experienced, tremendous value in that. The continuity is huge. They work really, really well together, and I felt like it was an awesome opportunity to team up.
To one of the greatest, helped coach him to one of the greatest running back seasons ever. People are going to look at Alvin and say, can you do the same thing? Just maybe, I know we're asking thoughts about guys who haven't met yet, just kind of from afar, what you thought.
Tons of respect for Alvin as a player. Obviously, one of the premier players in our league. His ability to play in the pass game and the run game, all the different versatile roles that he can play. A lot of people for a long time have been looking, how can we find an Alvin on our football team? And so that's been a really important piece. It will continue to be a really important piece. and we're really fortunate to have him.
Were you all in on New Orleans and the Saints from the time they first contacted you? You said a lot of nice things about the organization. Were those things you learned in the process or things you knew beforehand?
It was a really attractive place. Every single player and coach who's been here that you get a chance to team up with at other spots, they all talk about how great the New Orleans Saints organization is. I think that's, those are tremendously valuable pieces. And so when you have an opportunity to meet with them for the first time, all those dots quickly connect and you see how special this place is.
I wonder what Chauncey Johnson had to say about that.
Have you ever seen a player like a Taysom Hill?
Don't talk to Chauncey.
Same type of piece. A lot of us have been chasing Taysom Hills for a very, very long time, and ultimately there's one Taysom Hill, and that's very important for everyone to recognize. And so, I think that's the exciting part about our roster. We got a lot of really talented players. We got a lot of versatile players who can do a number of things, and that's going to be a huge advantage to us.
Obviously, you were able to focus on the task at hand based on the results of the Super Bowl and the whole playoff run. But I mean, was there a point pretty early in the process where you clearly wanted this job and felt pretty good that did you really not make that decision until after the Super Bowl, or you were hoping this is how it was going to end up throughout the process?
Certainly, I had hopes and dreams of this working out. It was a tremendous opportunity from the first meeting. You quickly saw how special this place was. You really hoped that, if the opportunity presented itself, we'd be fired up. And so it was a longer process, just the way our season played out, but thankful it turned out.
So when it came to having conversations Monday or Tuesday, it was pretty quick. Yeah.
That was very easy. That's a very easy decision. Yes.
Kellen, you've been exposed to some really good leaders just throughout your coaching career, Sirianni, McCarthy, Dan Quinn. Just how much you think being around guys like that helps prepare you for this moment right now?
Tremendous opportunity when you get to be around a lot of phenomenal head football coaches, and they all are going to present it in their own way. They all have their own styles. I think as long as you're authentic, consistent, and approach it, guys will respect it.
Is that something you're taking notes on too? Just kind of how people run a room and just all that stuff?
Absolutely.
You mentioned the taking notes part a couple of times. Is that always just been a mental thing in the back of your mind, or did you actually want to maybe write down one day what your philosophies would be and how you would do things if you were ever to get this opportunity?
Yes, absolutely. I wasn't the tallest, biggest, fastest quarterback in the world. The only way I survived was, I prepared as hard as I possibly could. And so that led me to the coaching side of it. And so I thought that was always really, really important. As quickly as I anticipated, hopefully having a coaching journey as I went through this, you took every example you possibly could. I think there's an element of a growth mindset that we're just continuing to grow, continuing to evolve as people, as coaches. And that's the identity that certainly we want to take as a team as well.
You also mentioned that, your first year, a lot of the players would be your teammates. Was that actually a difficult thing? Did it take a while for them to maybe turn the corner as to, hey, you're the coach now and not my peer?
It's a unique opportunity, but it's a really good opportunity. To team up with a bunch of people. We had tremendous leadership on that team. Again, it's about being authentic, being consistent. At the end of the day, if players feel like you're helping them become the best version of themselves, that's all they can ask for.
Obviously, we've talked about how you're the youngest head coach in the NFL right now, but I feel like we've heard your name as a candidate for years now. Did this whole process play out kind of the way you were thinking it would? Did it take you maybe longer than you thought to get this opportunity?
Again, each opportunity, you get to grow. You get to grow. Anytime you get to meet with an NFL football organization, you get to meet tremendous people. You get to recognize strengths, recognize growth opportunities for yourself personally, and I take advantage of those certainly. And so I felt really prepared for this, really excited for it. Felt like it was a perfect setting to team up with Mickey and the rest of this group.
All right, that's gonna put it there, man. Kellen Moore, man, ladies and gentlemen, Kellen Moore, the youngest head coach in the NFL, the youngest head coach ever for the team. And the Saints went from one of the oldest teams in the NFL to getting a young coach, interesting dynamic. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sweeping changes on this team. It has to be. A lot of these players are going to get either take pay cuts or be cut into the street. I mean, that's the bottom line. All right, big ups to the fam, man. How y'all feel? Y'all put in chat. Y'all educate me. How do you guys feel about Kellen Moore being the Saints head coach? Of course, the process is going to, and like we said, this is a bit of difference in terms of what Mickey Loomis telling people outside versus what he telling people on the inside of the building, telling them they'll be patient with a rebuild, and then on the outside telling they contending. You know, he's sending mixed signals purposefully because that's what he does. And I've been exposed them for doing crap like that, for not keeping it real. They'll just lie. That's what they do. But Kellen Moore is exactly what an old team like the Saints need. They need a young, innovative, offensive-minded person that's coming. And then the feel like I said before, coming off the Super Bowl win with that, you know, doing this thing like that and coming right off of that, signing with the Saints and all of that energy of winning the Super Bowl that just flows and it just excites everything. It all culminated. It could mean a lot of things too. The fact that he did that in New Orleans in the Superdome. Isn't that wild? So Kellen Moore comes here with his offense. He beats down. It wasn't just him. Defensively, they just manhandled Kansas City. Offensively, they ran all over them. Defensively, they kicked them in the tail. They sacked them. They roughed them up. They beat them down. The game was over with at halftime, as far as I was concerned. They threw out 20-something odd points. It didn't make a difference. But in the end, he did that down here. They won and they beat them in the Superdome, and then he takes, a little bit later, takes the job here. Then goes back up there to do the Super Bowl parade in Philly. Then he'll eventually come back down here. So that's a lot of good championship energy that is culminating here. So could that be something positive here? Like I said, he's not, he don't have all the experience in the world, but that youth, the innovation, that type of stuff, his connection to these players, he'll be a young coach there. He's articulate. He knows his offense. The key points is it's just going to be a learning curve for him to become a head coach for the first time. Will Mickey Loomis give him the help that he needs to be successful? I think he does. I think eventually, if you can get Carr out of here, and try to save some money on that deal, because that to me is the biggest. Like, you can compile a group of players like I showed you guys with Nate Shepard and Colin Saunders and Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill and all these guys, just to make 30, 40 million or 30 million, whatever it is, for this guy. Or you can just cut off a big chunk of it with Derek Carr. And like I said, when guys like this come here, they want their own quarterbacks, whether that's a guy they draft or a guy they sign some kind of way or trade for, whatever the case may be. That man gonna want his own quarterback. No disrespect to Carr. That's just how the business go in most of these NFL setups. They don't want somebody else's quarterback. That guy, they ain't gonna want it. So in the end, man, it's going to be interesting to see how it is, man, here. All right, KT says, he says, Q, I'm excited. He says, young coach with fresh ideas. I hope the front office gives him time to be. Oh, he will. They will. They'll do the same thing for Kellen Moore they did for Dennis Allen. He'll do the same thing. This is a young coach, yes, and new here, but you still got an old rascal in Mickey Loomis operating. He ain't gonna change his stripes. He's gonna do the same thing he did for Dennis Allen, which is he'll turn the keys over to the bus to Kellen Moore. But on the opposite side, it could be successful, being that you have a guy here that appears to know, have a good system. He's gonna walk through the door. He's gonna command respect straight away because that Super Bowl energy is with him. And like, I know what it takes to get there, even though I'm not a head coach, but I'm a head coach now. We can work together to get it done, So that's very exciting. DJ Twigger, what's happening, my friend? How you doing, brother? Big ups to you. All right, Cartel says, man, I'm excited, Q. I can't lie, and I'm cool with giving grace. Yes, everyone is saying Kellen wasn't the first choice, but what if he was the choice the whole time, but mentioning him would have taken. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, and this could have been the case, man. So, I mean, right, what's what we call for, right? I didn't say Kellen Moore's name, but I kind of laid out a laundry list of attributes that, and one of them was innovation. I kept saying innovation. I kept saying, we don't want no retreads. You know what I'm saying? That's why I wasn't excited about McCarthy. I wasn't excited about, I wanted them to talk to Pete Carroll. I ain't gonna lie. If you're gonna talk to somebody, if you're gonna talk to McCarthy, you might as well go ahead and talk to Pete Carroll. Why not? That's before he signed with the Raiders. But getting Kellen Moore does give you that innovation. So that's a young coach and you're excited because he's a young coach. This is something the Saints never done before. Not something that means something. And like I said, the Saints are not scorched earth, fam. Let's get that straight. The Saints were a 12-loss team last year because of incompetence, because of non-accountability and incompetence, bad decision making, bad roster management, dumb shit like what Coach Possum was doing with the backup quarterbacks to protect the starting quarterback, doing rotten shit like that. What he did with Kendre Miller, all this kind of stuff. And when you're throwing his team under the bus, all of the dumb shit that he did that hurt the team and the overall the mindset of the team. Because the reality, you have all of these different personalities here, and you got to get these guys all centered on winning together. Some of these guys never played, football on the same team before. So you got to get all these people on the same page, and you have to have an ability to be on time. You have to be thorough. You have to be accountable. When guys screw up, you gotta get, you gotta check them on it. You can't be letting that ride, and you can't be lying and saying stuff that's not true. If guys are out there stinking and getting handed it to them, if they're getting rolled up like tumbleweeds, you can't be out there talking about they got phenomenal effort. You can't do this stupidness, this trash, this garbage out here. You have to be able to tell it like it is, keep it true, and that's how you build accountability, and hopefully that will lead to you building a winner. We can't have these bum ass coaches running around here talking about guys getting rolled out up on the field like a dust mop rolling up stuff on a clean wooden floor, and we have phenomenal effort. That foolishness, man. We don't need that loserville crap over here, man. We trying to change the culture and take this to another level, man. And I'm very happy that this guy is going to be the coach. I'm interested to see what he's going to do. And he said it was going to be a tough challenge. He said that. I don't think it's going to be tough. I really don't think it's going to be that tough. I really don't think it's going to be. And the reason why I say that is because if you make the decisions, because a lot of these decisions of guys, like I said before, these guys don't want to take pay cuts because they're in a position right now and they need players to take pay cuts so they can be able to get money back, so they can build the team and have the financial resources to be able to do some stuff. If guys don't want to take pay cuts, then you got to cut their asses. Simple, right? What's tough about that? I gave you an option. If you want to keep your money, that's fine. How about we got to do what we got to do? If I got to trade you, I got to trade you. If we have to be aggressive, we have to breach the gap. We have to be able to get from this side to the other side, and we won't get it twiddling our thumbs. We got to make some serious moves to get there. But if you're comfortable with doing that, I think you will see a lot more improvement fast, because the Saints are not a scorched earth team with no talent. The Saints have good players everywhere, all over this team, all over the team. The team just didn't have any leadership. They didn't have a real coach that was commanding them. The Saints, no way the Saints should only have 5 wins last year. And this stupid coach sitting on top of the team looking crazy, don't know what to say, saying the same shit at the press conference every damn after the game. That don't even make any sense, man. You have to be able to find a way. You got to do things different. You cannot win with no accountability. This is if Kellen Moore is coming here and he's going to establish that, man, I'm more power to him, man. But yeah, they're going to definitely be patient with him, just like they were trying to be patient with Dennis Allen. Good patience, wrong guy to do that with. And then Mickey Loomis is blind as a bat. He's sitting up there protecting the guy. So stupid, man. So stupid. All right, questions. KT said, if y'all got questions, throw them in the chat, fam. Hit the like button if y'all guys in here. We got over 200 folks in the building. I appreciate you guys chilling with me on this Thursday stream. Do me a service. Please hit the like button and the share button. If you're not a subscriber, sub up. Hit the sub button, man. I should have put a poll question there, man. I meant to do that, man. Y'all pardon me for a second. Let me throw a poll question there. Give me a second, fam. Let me be able to put this poll question up for you guys. I'm trying to give a little poll question to the family members so y'all can check it out. All right. All right, poll question that's right there, fam. Y'all answer. Do you approve of the Saints hiring Kellen Moore? That's a yes or no, and I don't know. There in the chat, y'all put it and let me know, man. The great faithful 200 plus y'all chime in on the chat. Let me hear what you guys think about that. Any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. Doc says, what's up? Doc says, great guy, respectfully not putting up the value for how much we paying him. Yes, and like I said, I kind of joke about him having he look like he could be a member of JFK's family, you know. He's got a kind of a political feel to him and how he answers the questions, because the reality is he probably didn't meet a lot of these guys unless, you know, you're talking about your coaching against them and you might, you know, this type of thing. So he kept it real personable. You know, he didn't put out any, information to the different. Even the Derek Carr thing was asked several times. He approached it very respectfully and didn't tip his hat one way or the other. You know, he didn't show his cards. You know, he did a really good job of that. You know, he's very focused on the questions and everything was consistent. You know, he didn't contradict himself in the press. He was very consistent on how he approached it because, you know, reporters will try you. They'll ask you the same question 3 different ways. Let's see if I can ask him this way and see if so he did a good job of consistently asking the questions, and he was very consistent, man. That's why I didn't really have too much to say, but hearing him in, man, and let's see what the man can do. Like we said, we get a guy here, man, that, you know, we'll give him an opportunity to see what he can do, you know. But like I said, I don't see the Saints as a scorched earth team. We have a lot of phenomenal talent here. You just need leadership to get these guys where they belong. You just need leadership, and hopefully Kellen Moore could bring that. All right, English says, good to see you back up, Big Q. I've been here all along, English. He says the kid isn't a turnkey ready as Peyton Parcells, but hands off. Loomis will allow him to be the best QB. Yeah, Mickey Loomis, the one thing you can say about one good thing you can say about Mickey Loomis in terms of him GMing is the fact that he's not a meddler. I've said this before. He will not meddle. And if Kellen Moore asks for something, Mickey Loomis is going to give it to him, even though it might hurt the team in the future. He's done that I don't know how many times with Sean Payton, with Dennis Allen. He doesn't even take that into consideration. If he wants some expensive player like he did the Derek Carr thing, I'm like, man, we can't afford that dude. But he did it. It tore the team up, and now he got to fix it. But at the end of the day, he will give his head coach everything he possibly can get in terms of resources of the team, and he would even spend lies and stuff like that. He won't check them. He allow them to screw up, all this kind of stuff. He'll do all that, you know, because it's just what it is. It's just what he ain't gonna change his stripes. He's been doing that for a long time, so he won't stand in his way. I promise you that. K-Man said this is going to be an interesting offseason. Change gonna come. It has to. The Saints are in a position right now where they definitely need some. Hell, you know, they saying tough decisions. It's not tough to me, fam. We a 12 loss team. You know, that's the toughest part of it. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the reality that you was a 12 loss team and you sitting as one of the oldest team in the NFL in the cellar underneath the Carolina Panthers. My toughness line stop right there. Everything, all this other stuff they talking about is easy work as far as I'm concerned. It's easy work, right? Y'all feel me on that? Man, listen, we 5-12, sitting in the cellar of the NFC South, one of the oldest teams going, right? Currently, you know, that's the tough right there. Everything else, getting rid of this guy, getting rid of that guy, getting his ass out of here. Hey, man, that's an easy work to me. That's easy work to me. You heard me? All right, Doc says Q may be an unpopular opinion, but do you think that MT would come back for a 1-year contract with Carr basically leaving? I don't know, bro. I would say no. I would say that Michael Thomas's time with the Saints is done. And we'll see what he got going on, but he might be done playing football. I know he didn't sign with anybody this year. I don't know if he was totally 100% healthy and he's just rehabbing and he's going to try it again next year, come back and see if he could catch on with somebody. But I think Mike's time with the Saints is over with, bro. That's thrown in the books of history, bro. I think that's over with. What's up, Colorado? Shout out to your fam. Appreciate you. As well, Kick says, we got us another one, Q. We back. All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. KT says, Q Slick Mickey told Kellen Moore to keep. Yeah, he better keep that thing. Well, Kellen Moore don't have to worry about that, man. I don't know if this was Mickey Loomis's idea. This is kind of out of his wheelhouse and what he traditionally does. He might have been influenced by other people like, man, we might want to change this up. We can't keep bringing the same people around here. We need somebody that's going to bring something new, because they went all the way to the opposite side, getting a guy never been a coach before, and he's a young coach, with an old team. Because usually you have a young coach with an old team, that usually is not going to end up well, right? That usually doesn't end up well, because usually the older team, will they respect the coaching philosophy of that young coach? It usually doesn't work like that. But, I think the team will become very, that it will stop being an old team. I think some of these guys going to get cut up out of here, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah, KT says Kyle McCord. Yeah, Kyle McCord is another dude you got to work out. That's McCord's the guy from Kyle McCord's Syracuse, isn't it, KT? I want to say that's Syracuse. That's the brother there. All right, Doc says you never know. This Evo may prevent him from right. Stop now. I don't think Mickey's gonna stop him, bro. What's up, King Logic? How you doing, brother? Yeah, the Pels. I got it on my other TV right now, man. The Pels were able to beat Sacramento in overtime, man, without Zion, man. So that's cool. Yeah, CJ had 43. I got it on, and I don't know if y'all can hear it, man. I got screens everywhere. So, yeah. Clint says, how about hell yeah, it's a good hire. Okay. All right, Trey. What's up, Trey? Very optimistic there. Okay, thank you, Trey. Shout out to you, man. All right, Backwoods says Rizzy sounds like Homer Simpson's daddy. Okay. What's Homer Simpson's daddy name? Gabe? It's not none of that. It's Grandpa Simpson. Grandpa, I forgot his name. But I don't think, no, he don't sound like Grandpa Simpson, bro. Come to think about it. No, he kind of has a whiny voice, I won't say Grandpa Simpson has, but Rizzy has a blown out, coach's voice. He that type of thing. It's just I had to work on that to get that where I needed it to be, man. Don't ask me to, I don't know if I can't do the Kellen Moore voice, man. I might have to listen to him a couple of years. Avis says, I'm interested in seeing his staff hires. This is the good point here, Avis. That's the next thing we got to really look at doing is the hires. Who's the defensive coordinator going to be? Who's your offensive coordinator going to be? We know the wide receiver coach is Coach Mike. We know the offensive coach is oh man, I forgot his name from Brendan. So we know some of his we got a couple of them, but a lot of these hires is going to happen pretty rapidly because at the tail end of the hiring cycle, you waited as long as you can go, so it won't be drawn out hiring. He has a list of guys that he wants, and some of these guys are going to be stepping up. And then, of course, a lot of rumors, I don't know how true it is, that Dan Orlovsky, who is used to be with ESPN, did announce that he'll be leaving or disappearing for a while, whatever the case may be. Speculation around he might take a job with Kellen Moore. Those guys are, I think they are former teammates or they played together or whatever the case may be. But there's talking that he possibly be that. But that's not the thing. He congratulated Kellen Moore online and then told Kellen Moore, go get your quarterback. That's what Dan Orlovsky said. So he made no qualms about it. He congratulated Kellen Moore online and told him, now go get you a quarterback. And everybody know this. It's not a long drawn out conclusion. Derek Carr does not want to be. He doesn't want to take a pay cut. Well, and you are a team right now that need people to take pay cuts. You don't need restructures. We don't need to restructure old guys into next year. No, you can't. You take a pay cut. Oh, you can't. You can't. No, boom. We got to put you in the street. It's just what it is. And then it'll be a little pain at first for when you do cut some of these players, but in the end, man, in the long run, it'll be all right. Hey, yeah, Abe Simpson. There you go. Thank you, Lewis. Abe Simpson with the straw penny. Yeah, he's a straw penny, a straw penny. That was when he had his little the grandpa story. When that stuff been on for years, man. LM, what's up, bro? Says, wonder why Seattle signed our old offensive line coach instead of promoting the one we just signed. We just swapped offensive line coach. I don't know, bro. I know we used to have him here, though. He wasn't a bad coach. Now, I don't know what he did with Seattle. I'm going to have to look up the stats on what happened with Seattle during his tenure. But I know what he did here under Coach Payton. It was actually pretty damn good. So can he kind of wake that up again and bring that type of intensity back here? Because that's what Kellen Moore is going to need for his offense to thrive. And then, of course, the defensive side, we'll see all that. But I'm more focalized in on the offensive side, because the offensive side has been really struggling for the last several years. We've been having problems on that side of the ball. So we need to kind of figure, I want to kind of focalize on what your offensive coordinator. I know he's going to be calling the plays. We know that. But who's your offensive coordinator going to be? We already know the wide receiver coach, not so much on these other guys. I think Clancy Barone might be in there for a tight end position. Who knows? We'll see. But that's a big part of it. Like, what's that going to look like? We've seen some of the stuff from the Philadelphia. You can go back and look at some of the stuff he did when he was with the Chargers, some of the stuff he did with the Cowboys. But I'm happy about getting a guy like Kellen Moore, but I'm also a thinking man, which means in my mind, I'm thinking about, how much, even though I think Kellen Moore did a very good job with Philly this year, how much of that was Saquon Barkley? You see what I'm saying? Those wheels are turning, because I'm never the one to get drawn all the way in and be like, oh, yeah, this type of third. I don't do that, because I done seen this type of stuff too often. And we done lived this experience before. And every time you live this experience, the previous experience teaches you a lesson about what you have to pay attention to, because we seen this happen 3.5, almost 4 years ago when they brought Dennis Allen here. You're like, okay, what is this guy going to do? What's your philosophy here? Are you accountable? And then we spent 3 years watching him tear up the team, backstab his players, lie to his players. Jameis Winston lied. He lied to Jameis. Jameis had to come out on the press conference with him, threw his team under the bus, all this kind of stuff. This idiot basically disintegrated his team and destroyed the morale of the team, and literally by himself, created a split in locker room where you had guys upset about all the stuff was going on. And Mickey Loomis didn't do nothing about it. He's stupid. He stayed in his office the whole time. That's not a real general manager. But anyway, Kellen Moore will have to do a lot of stuff, because Mickey Loomis simply won't do it. He doesn't know how to do it. He never exhibited those qualities before. He just hogs the GM position because he likes to stay in front of the camera. So whatever Kellen Moore, like if a guy like an aggressive, because listen, I'm gonna put it to you like this. Philadelphia has a real general manager. You can go and look up what Philly's general manager was doing. And I kind of from afar did that, because Philadelphia would pilfer people from the Saints quite regularly. Zach Bowen, you've seen guys like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson go there. They would pull people off our practice squads and stuff like that. So you will see guys head to Philadelphia. So they trades that we made with who Loomis made with Howard Roseman, and he would fleece him because he's not a real general manager. So at the end of the day, it's just the fact that Kellen Moore, Mickey will not get in his way, but he will not provide any more help than what you'll see a Howie Roseman, who will come around and who's very hands-on and is always looking at his team and looking to improve his team. If guys are injured, he's out there trying to trade for guys. He's constantly, very actively, adding and bringing player personnel to the team to keep the team moving along. If they got injuries going on, he's in the trade market. He's trying to do this type of stuff. This is what Howie Roseman does. He's an active, proactive general manager. who talks to his players, who has the temperament, you know, the ear to the street or whatever you want to call it. He has the vibe of his team because he engages with these guys. He talks to them. He understands, you know, if there's stuff going on, he's on it because that's his damn job. What else he gonna do? Go outside in the parking lot and stripe the parking lot? No, his job is the general manager of the team. So generally he's going to manage the team like he's supposed to. But you got a guy that's not really a GM, but he's more VP than GM, sucking up that position. And he's not nearly as proactive as you would want your general manager to be. That's one of the main problems I have with Mickey Loomis. This is why I was advocating for him to be pushed off the general manager position and give it to somebody who will give the general manager's job the attention that it needs. Because any other way, Kellen will be just basically he would be just carrying all of that. He'll be carrying all of that. And he's a new head coach. So that's a lot to have. And like this idiot Loomis said when they asked him about Dennis Allen, well, I could have helped Dennis more. He said that. I could have helped him more. How are you going to help him? How would you have helped him? You don't have any answers. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is Kellen Moore, it's a lot going to be on Kellen Moore as far as that concerned. But Mickey Loomis won't stand in his way as far as his personnel decisions. Even if the team can't afford him, he's gonna keep doing what he's been doing because he won't change. Eventually we're in cap hell right now, but it'll die down again, and eventually he'll get back to his old tricks as long as he's running this thing. But in terms of Kellen Moore, it's a lot of stuff that Kellen Moore will be tasked with. That's the stuff that's real. It's not just about these players, because they making it sound like the Saints are so bad. The Saints are not that bad from a player standpoint. They don't have the accountability and leadership that they need to be accountable so they can win. That's the truth. They have all these. You take some of these players and put them on teams that are accountable, they're different players. Hell yeah, the Saints got a top 5 running back in Alvin Kamara. What does it mean if you can't hold the offensive line accountable? They don't have any temperament. They don't play with any aggression or any intelligence as a collective. What does it mean? He can't open up holes. He's just getting frustrated running into small holes for 1 or 2 yards. What does that mean? So overall, accountability has to be put into the building, and this man will have to establish all of that, because this team is not accountable, not from the owner to the president, whoever he is, whatever he does, to Mickey Loomis. This is not an accountable organization, so it won't rain from them. It will all be on this first-time head coach who's 36 years of age. It's a lot. That's what I'm saying. When I look at difficulties, that's what I see. But overall, the Saints still have enough talent to impact right away based on, can they come with the decisions to get these old ass players off this team and move forward? Can they make these decisions, these precision decisions on time and push these guys out of the way for the betterment of today and tomorrow? Can they do that? That's what it comes down to. That's my estimation. That's my little breakdown on that, fam. I know that was a lot, but yeah, hell, I know this team, fam. I know this team. All right, what's up, Brent? Shout out to you, Brent. Thank you, man.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world. Money out. Stay cool. Nobody gets hurt. Take the money out. All of it. Come on. Wasting my time now. Come on. Stop stalling.
Shout out to Mr. O. He says, Q, how do you feel about Jameis Winston's social media experiment for the Super Bowl? Dude has a future there too. Yeah, Jameis is, oh my God. Jameis's characters. Yeah, he's Jameis is a unique character, man. He definitely that is. There's only one Jameis Winston. Yeah, I seen it, man. It was like, yeah, Jameis is eating. Jameis. Yeah, he got a future, brother. Jameis. Damn, Jameis. Who That Daddy says, Q, have a good feeling about this hire. Yes, sir. I think the man, I think his youth will help here. Because the Saints, like I said, they're old. They needed an infusion of youth, getting the quarterback there. And I don't think we're going to stay old long, fam. I think eventually we're going to get rid of these old players. we might suffer a bit in the first year, but overall, I think we just need to move some of these guys off. They got used to just collecting. I mean, we got a bunch of check collectors on this team, family. And that's why I was upset. Like, I don't want to see these guys. Listen, I know I'm a little selfish with my football, but listen, I don't want to see all these guys running around here smiling during the Super Bowl and you sit up here with 12 losses on the year. What you smiling about? I'm not smiling. You not smiling. I'm not smiling about it. That's an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. I don't want check collectors. We need to get you up out of here. We're going to get you right up on here and get you right up out of here, man. We want guys that want to put it out. You're getting paid handsomely to perform. We're not paying you handsomely to sit up here with 12 losses. You got to go. Especially when we sitting like we are, man. See, I'm kind of cold with it, but at the end of the day, this has to happen. SJ says, what do you think about him being as old as our captains? I mean, that's a side effect to it, though, right? You know, I guess. But that's part of that innovation. That's a part of it, bro. That's that experience. That's why I was saying a young coach on an old team. Yeah, that don't usually work. But if you're getting rid of a lot of these old guys to free up money so the team radically starts to change and they get younger, it could work. And also the caveat is the train that he's flying in. Don't forget the train, is Super Bowl train that he's flying in here on. All of it's all very interesting because, like I said earlier, he won the Super Bowl, blew out the Chiefs in the dome. That was in the dome. Like, why would that matter anyway? Because it was in your building. He did that in the Superdome down here. And it's very, you know, you see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the way that the offense played in the game against the Chiefs, the energy that it all flowed with, and right now he's riding a high right now. Like he said, he had to go up to Philly tomorrow for the Super Bowl party. I mean, the parade that they're doing. He's going to go up there, have a ball, and after that, he's going to come back down here, get back to business. So it's going to be a good energy flow, a good Super Bowl energy flow, because he's moving back and forth, and a lot of energy is going to transfer because that just happened, and him coming here, all of that energy is going to flow along right with him into the season. So, like I said, this could be a good year, but it depends on the team building. He spoke about team building. We're going to build this thing the right way. Like, you know, you have a blank lot, like you have a flat lot, like nothing on it. You cleared the land. There's nothing there. You got all the stumps out of there. It's just we're going to build it the right way. That's what he was saying. He kept saying, we're going to build it the right way. Like there's not a building there. You know, did y'all pick that up? Like there's just, we're going to build it from the ground up. We're going to build it for the first time type of thing. I'm like, you don't really need to do that. You got a good building now. You need to fumigate it and get all these rodents out of here. You got to do that type of thing. You know, see what I'm saying? You got some, you know, that type of stuff, because you don't have a clear slate here. You don't have a clear slate, and you still have talent that you can work with. You just got to build around the talent that means something and get the other stuff out of here that don't. It's as simple as that. It's not like a situation like you a bottom feeding NFL team. The Saints should have never been 12 losses. That's the truth. That's the God's honest truth. You know, they should never been 12 losses. All right. Anyway, shout out to y'all. New Orleans says, do you see what Derek Carr's brother said about Kellen Moore on X? No, I did not. Please put it in the chat. Let me know. Brent says, he says, let the new coach have a sit down with Dick Gregory. I don't know. He got 3 of them, Brent. I don't know which one should I play, man. I don't know which one I should play, Brent. I got 3 of them up here, man. I can't play the no hope one, man. He cussing too much on that one. All right. Okay. I can't put the other one up there about what because Kellen Moore, I don't want him to say that about Kellen Moore. How about this one?
The problem is you trying to talk with your shit and you don't know nothing instead of listening. Huh?
I'm listening.
Okay? No. I get $40,000, man, and I dare motherfucker to pop.
say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this
All
world.
right, shout out to you, Brent. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Mad Drummer says Q. Say Hill gets traded. Joanne leaves, and Young. He said, and Young goes. You think we'll go Warren at 9, then Princely. Oh yeah, Princely's pretty good too. However you say his name. Yeah, Princely, the defensive end. Warren's the tight end from Penn State. I think it was Tyler Warren. Man, I would not be mad at Tyler Warren, man. I understand that totally. Why Tyler Warren would be a guy that you would go at, with that pick at the tight end position. I could see Kellen Moore as an offensive minded head coach wanting a special tight end, and Tyler Warren would be that guy. Yeah, he would be awesome, man. I can't be mad at that pick, bro. And then Princely, it would be an interesting pick too in the second round. If you lose out on Chase, yeah, those would be really two good picks early, man. To be honest, if Princely's there in the second round, well, he would be where? Let's say that second round pick is a 40 pick. I want to say it's like the 40th overall pick, which would place him somewhere in the top of the second round, somewhere in there, which could work. Yeah, so that's not bad. Warren and Princely wouldn't be bad at all, man. That wouldn't be bad at all. I mean, people say he has some. He's have to develop a bit, but that guy's awesome, man. Clint says Moore can focus on run game or the passing game, whatever is working. He's flexible and adapts his offenses to the player's strength. That is good. Jaden says no Pelicans post game report tonight. Nah, DC and Lex will be holding it down over there, man. They'll be holding it down, man. That's a good part about having a team, man. I don't have to be everywhere, because your boy be needing. He need his rest. He need his rest too, All right, Doc says, can someone tell me what Carr said? I don't know what he said. What did he say, fam? Y'all put it in the chat. Let me know, because I didn't hear it. Okay, Jojo says, I hope we draft running back Ashton. Doc says, why would he post the money comparison? I don't know what he says. New Orleans says, well, it started as a joke first, but he posts Derek Carr stats next to Kellen Moore stats and money earned in the NFL, comparing the two careers in the NFL. That's pretty effing petty. That's pretty petty. But because the whole thing is, and I can understand what Carr's kinfolk is doing. You talking about David Carr? Was David Carr the guy? Because Kellen Moore kicked Derek Carr in the teeth when they beat him in that when they went head to head, and a lot of that's been in front of the media. So he feels the right to kind of post the stats. The stats is one thing, but then coming out with the money don't have nothing to do with it. That just shows you just been stealing money for a long time. That's all that is. Like, he stole money from the stupid Saints. I mean, that was that idiot. Possum did that. So I mean, I can't be mad at Derek Carr for making his money. The Saints gave it to him. He ain't robbed their bank or whatever. He ain't took it from them forcefully. They gave it to him. And at the end of the day, it's just time for not only just Derek Carr. A lot of these guys got to go, man. A lot of them got to go. A lot of these guys got to go, because this is not what we about here. I don't want losers and lovable losers. That's why I've been saying that for a while. We don't need no lovable losers. We don't need lovable losers here. We don't pay for lovable losers. He says Darian Carr. It wasn't David Carr. It was Darren. Oh, the other brother. Okay. Thank you for that, New Orleans. Appreciate you, fam, for that. Clearing it up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear that, man. I have to look that up. Appreciate you bringing that to us. SJ says, did you see Cam on Tubi live doing this? I seen some of it, bro. I know, bro. I know SJ. Yeah, I know SJ Wilson. Yeah, that's that ain't in 12 wins don't impact you unless he a hell of an actor. I don't know if I can act that good, man. I'm a true diehard black and gold man, and I'm still pissed off about it, man. I had to take me a little break because I was upset. Not only just that, but all the stuff that they've been doing over the last several years from Gale on down. Man, all that was terrible, man. I'm still upset about that. That guy still ain't fired nobody for that. That Bensel guy is still working there. At least he needs to be fired. At least if he was on there, he needs to be terminated. But they have not done none of that, man. And that's why I say I'm gonna put it in the hands of the Most High, and they'll tear him down. Because one thing, you can skirt man justice, but at the end of the day, when it divine justice, there is no escape for that. So eventually you will fall, and they will fall hard. So thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this run.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, bro. I mean, Cam he's smiling and bucking his eyes and every damn thing. That's why I'm like, okay, you can keep on bucking, and we're gonna help you get to the NFL Network a little faster. We cannot. We didn't be paying these guys for years. We're not paying you to lose, fam. That's what we got to cut it off at. We can't pay you to lose, fam. We got to run you up out of here if that's the case. We can't afford. I'm sorry, we don't pay for losers. We don't like lovable losers. All right, Jaden says, Jaden says, did Kellen Moore? He says, do Kellen Moore win 8 to 10 games in 2025 season? Yes or no? Does he win 8 to 10 games in this year? I don't see him winning. I don't think he wins. I can't. I don't. That's a tough one, bro. I'm gonna have to hold out on that one right now, Jaden, because I don't have enough information on it to even much pick how many games he's going. I'm gonna have to hold out on that. You're gonna have to come back and check with me on that one, brother. Give me another month or so. Let me see who the personnel is, who is all his staff is in terms of his coaching staff. Let me see what decisions they made at the quarterback level and around the team. And then once I see that, maybe I can have a better gauge on who it is. But right now, I can't tell you how many wins he wins at all, because I know it probably ain't gonna be Carr at the quarterback. If it's not Carr, who is it? Is it Spencer? Is it somebody else? It's just too many things right now. I can't really accurately give you a true account on that, brother. I need to see some more stuff right now before I make a call on that, because we need to see what they do. It's a lot of different things need to happen before I can say 8 to 9, 10 games off that, bro. I to be honest with you, I can't do that, bro. Thank you, though. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jaden. Appreciate you, bro. Who that daddy? Shout out to you, KT. Last question says, Q, pick one running back, Ollie Gordon, Caleb Johnson, Giddens, or Martinez from Miami. I like Martinez, bro. I like Martinez a lot. KT always with the good ones, man. Man. Ollie Gordon's good too, man. Giddens, I need to get more tape on Giddens. I heard about Giddens. I hadn't watched enough film on Giddens. And Caleb Johnson's all right. I don't know, KT. I'm going to lean toward Martinez. I like Martinez out of Miami, man. I like Martinez a lot, man. I like how he run. I like how he run. Real tough runner, man. I like him a lot, man. I'm going to go with Martinez, bro. All right. Thank you, Doc. All right, so with that being said, man, we're going to get ready to get out here on this one, man. Listen, I appreciate the family members in the poll voting. Do you approve of the Saints hiring Kellen Moore as the new head coach? 89% of the family members says yes. Okay, that's good, man. And 10% says, I don't know. 1% says no. And a resounding poll right there. 89% of the people say, yeah, we liked the move. I mean, you gotta respect it. I mean, you gotta respect it commonsensically, from a lot of the options that I said early on, his youth, his innovation, his temperament, and he'll have the leverage, because for the Saints to wait for him like that, they obviously like what he's about, and Mickey Loomis will do what's necessary to help whatever Kellen Moore's vision is for the New Orleans Saints. The only problem is, as I hope whoever Kellen Moore picks as his assistants, that he gets like an older, like a senior advisor, one for the defense, one for the offense, to help him out during his transition. He's going to really need that senior advisor type. Coach Payton used to do that. He had Coach Chaney here in his tenure here. That was a pair of eyes, he called them. Just he hired advisors, older coaches, former head coaches as advisors. Football, man, he said, they're an extra pair of eyes for me. And they will pinpoint things to Coach Payton, because it's a lot of stuff you're looking at. And some of these senior advisors will help him be able to differentiate and see different things that from their perspective, from their experience. So hopefully Kellen Moore can find some of those guys because he's going to need them. Because like I said, like with a lot of organizations, the support from top down, because he's going to be tasked with building a culture of winning here, which can't necessarily be I don't think that'll be the difficult thing, because because what he's, like I say, he has a lot of that Super Bowl energy following him here, so it's a lot going on here. But at the end of the day, do I think he can handle it? Yeah, I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right. If he does what he says he's going to do and be accountable, he should be all right. But the Saints have to be a lot smarter in their personnel decisions. That's the God honest truth. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, we're going to get ready to get on out on that. I appreciate all you guys for being in the stream. He said, how many funny jokes? He says, Jason, how many funny jokes what her name will be telling? I don't know, man. Jerry Covington says Trey Hendrickson from Ohio State. Is it Trey Hendrickson? Trey Henderson from Ohio State. All right, Lewis says, all right, shout out to you, Lewis. Good to see you. All right. Listen, man, we're going to get out on that, man. Listen, I appreciate all y'all for being in the stream. Mad Drum says, Q, what do you think about us getting Henderson or next year getting Etienne's brother? I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think Elvin's still tied up, but at some point we got Kendre Miller that's supposed to, at some point, you got to lean on to kind of help. And as long as they got like that going on, you can see the Saints like reaching that undrafted guys. I think that philosophy to a degree will be there. But overall, Kellen Moore is an offensive-minded coach, so he'll be more than likely looking at improving his skill set guys. But hopefully this year they kind of focus on kind of getting our offensive line together, man. We need a left guard there. Really need to look at Penning. If a Will Campbell or what's his name? What's the brother name? KT, man, Junior from what is it, Texas? If he falls to him there, if one of them offensive linemen fall to you there, man, it'd be hard pressed. I'd be hard pressed not to take either one of them guys, man, because you can kick Junior from Texas inside, or you can have Will Campbell, that dude straight off the bat as a blindside tackle from LSU. I mean, and you can shift the line however you want to be, kick Penning inside to the guard position. I mean, we got to get better, man. That offense, we got to improve our offensive line. And the depth of the offensive line was very poorish this year. So we have to focus a lot of our resources on those skill set players are important, but the trenches is really where we need to focus at too. All right. So anyway, man, I'm gonna get out on that. Listen, I appreciate you. Yeah, Kendre Miller. Yeah. How about that? Kendre could be good. What's up, Willie? WB3 in the building. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, Willie. What the hell you been hiding at, man? I hope everything all right with you out there, man. Ain't hear from you in a while, my brother. Yeah, Kendre Miller, bro. He is still on the team. Jamal Williams is still on the team. I think his contract runs out after this year. I mean, Jamal might be in the cuts, man. That was not a very good signing for the Saints. You want to talk about Derek Carr being a tough signing. Jamal Williams has not been a good signing at all. Him with the Pokemon shit and all that, that's cool. But his production on the football field, oh my God, that was a Will Harris, Chase Young, Pokemon, Jamal Williams. It has not been good, bro. It has not been good. But get on out of here, man. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Also, feel free to give love to our sponsors, man. Their stuff, their links are in the description section below. Mint Mobile, T. Chinley, Bet Online, man. Show our sponsors some love as well. With that being said, I'm out. I'm holler at y'all on the next one. Much love. Who that to you?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Fucking like this, and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Biggest betting weekend of the year.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who Dat too.